What's going on? Welcome to Lapeef Sports on the Lapeef Network. Let me introduce the crew. We got Cal. We got Sway in the morning. Avon. Pink. Jay. Me, myself, from Lapeef JR. Welcome to Lapeef Sports on the Lapeef Network. What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Doing good, brother.
Good morning, black men.
Good morning. Happy Sunday.
Happy
Good
Sunday.
morning. Good morning.
Happy Sunday, man.
Get the crust out your eyes.
Yeah, I know, man. I had to wash my face and brush my teeth and floss this morning. Actually, I didn't floss this morning. I flossed last night, so it wasn't nothing in my teeth to floss. But
That's a must, big bro. Make sure you get that Teej Handler too. Don't forget that. Feel the Teej.
oh yeah, shout out to the sponsor, Teej Handling, man. Shout out to Teej Handling. Make sure you guys click that link that's in the description. Get yourself a free gift. And in case you guys don't know already, the news is out. We will be in Houston. Our first live show is in Houston, April 23rd. That link is posted at the top of the chat. We got a lot of things going on the entire weekend, starting that Friday, but the actual live show is on that Saturday, the 23rd. Get your tickets. There is a capacity limit. I do see a lot of people have copped theirs already. In case you guys are asking, the location will be put out there. I'm going to put the hotels out there around the area, but the official location will be revealed maybe about 2 or 3 weeks before the actual show. So the location is set. It's not like it's a mystery or anything. We just haven't put it out there, but I will put the locations out there this Monday. So copy your tickets, man. We look forward. This is our first live show. You guys get to be a part of history. And the next city out there is Atlanta. Next city is going to be Atlanta. So we got some great things happening, man. We want to make sure you guys be able to feel the experience and copy some teas so you can feel that tea as well. Make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to the members. Shout out to the members. Let me see if I see something in the chat. None yet. But so I won't put the green dot out there, man. Become a member. Just hit that join button right there. I'll also put it in the description right now for you guys because the members have the opportunity to get a discounted price ticket. So whatever events that we have going on, whatever it is, I like to try to pour it through the members because they don't have to spend their hard-earned money with us. But the fact that they signed up and they support us and hold us down, it's only right that we give back. So let me go ahead and put that link right there in the chat for you guys. So if you want to become a member, just click this link right here and go green. We call that the green gang. The green gang. There you go. Green gang. Oh, I see you. Hey, shout out to NBA old boy with Zane Master. He's a new member, man. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you. I already hopped on it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Thank you. Thank you. So we got a great show ahead. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. A real quick brief of how the show is going to go. We're going to talk about the NFL. And then we're going to get into the Mahomes fiance situation. And then we're going to do NBA on the back end. We're doing a little bit differently, instead of having you guys sit through to wait for the meet. Some people just want to hear Mahomes. I get it. So we're going to put it right there in the middle. So if anybody comes in saying, hey, I thought you guys were talking about Mahomes, chat, let's make sure we set them right. Let's make sure we get it together. All right. Cal's on you.
Yeah. So we got our NFL games today. And first of all, maybe we want to recap what happened last week. I was happy to see that the Rams won. I was kind of rooting for them. I was happy to see Matthew Stafford get over the hump a little bit. Come on, Sway. They do. The Rams are due. They got too much talent, just like the Chiefs. When the Chiefs first started doing well, I think it was 4 years ago now, they just had too much talent. And, it was hard to root against them. They seem to be well coached. They got a solid defense. They got some good guys on offense. Cooper Kupp is really turning into his own. So I was really happy to see that the Rams won. Same for the Chiefs. I think that Pat Mahomes, even though he's going through some personal issues, he kind of had a lot of pressure on him to not succumb to all the different issues. I know he's kind of battling some injuries that maybe don't get a lot of hype. And then, of course, he's got his personal issues with his wife and his brother, or not his wife, pardon me, his fiance, mother of his child. And so I think that he's definitely has a lot of pressure on him to maybe succeed this year, especially with no Tom Brady. It's kind of the Chiefs' Super Bowl to lose at this point. So, what do you guys think in terms of last week's games? I swear I already saw that you was none too pleased with the Rams. So, what are you thinking?
Man, all I know is that's just another Giants Super Bowl bullshit of lucky plays when we don't need them to happen. Because honestly, they was not meant to win that game. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if they say, oh, they came back. They had to come back from a deficit. I don't care. That's Tom Brady. We were supposed to win that game regardless. Cooper Kupp made some great plays, and hats off to him, Coolio. I hope they actually win the Super Bowl, because if they wasn't going to win, Tom Brady was going to win, and that's how I feel about it. And so they better win. And if they don't, I'm even more mad at them hoes. So, and then what is it, Mahomes? That was an interesting game. I watched the end of it, and they scored like 5 touchdowns in like 7 minutes.
It was
Like
something like that. The
back to back to back. I was like, what's the defense at? I thought the Bills supposed to have a good defense, but I mean, Mahomes and Tyreek and Kelsey, they did their thing, and I guess we're going to talk about his wife and how that might have put some pressure on him during the game. But yeah, I mean, hats off to him. I hope he wins it too. Get him a second one. Boost his Hall of Fame caliber, how they talk about it. Because I think he is the next Tom. You know what I mean? I think he's better than Aaron Rodgers. No hate to Aaron Rodgers, but they love to put him on the same playing field as Tom. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers comes up in big games. I think Patrick Mahomes does, and I feel like that's a Tom Brady-esque type of thing. And so I like him better than Aaron Rodgers. He's definitely the number, the baby goat coming up. So I hope he wins.
Avon, what you think about the Bengals last week? I was also rooting for the Bengals. I was happy to see Jamar Chase look like the stud that he is. I never really thought that one guy could really defeat a whole NFL team. You know what I mean? I thought that was a Tyreek Hill thing, and apparently it's a Jamar Chase thing too. So, what do you think about the Bengals? Do they really have a shot? Are they peaking right now? What's the future like for them?
They absolutely have a shot. Anytime, I spoke on this last week about how I was looking forward to watching all 4 of these quarterbacks, and they did not disappoint. Like I said, I hope that the Bears, my team, was watching last week, but apparently they not, because they went out and hired a defensive head coach. But we got 4 quarterbacks last week who showed out, bro. And with the Bengals specifically, yes, I think we're coming into a new era now where we're going to see this new collection of quarterbacks. Like, remember, we had the Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Drew Brees, I guess to a certain extent, Aaron Rodgers group. And I think we're moving into a new era of like 3 or 4 quarterbacks that are going to carry the league for the next 10 years. And as long as you got one of those guys, you got a shot to win every year. I think the Bengals are here to stay. Barring catastrophic injury, any type of craziness, the earth opening up under Cincinnati or something, they're here for the long haul, man. If you got a quarterback that can sling that ball, and you got somebody to throw to, you always got a shot in the NFL. Now, going forward this week is going to be interesting, because I think it's going to come down to which defense shows a pulse, because did nobody show one last week. So I think it's going to come down to with the Bengals specifically, will the moment be too big for them? Have they arrived a little bit too early? You know what I mean? I think sometimes it happens with teams. When you put them together and they peak too early, they get a little too close to the sun too soon. I don't know, man. Like the Chiefs, that's going to be a tall task, man. The Chiefs been there, done that. The Bengals, it feels a little different the first time you stepping out there onto that big time stage. The Chiefs been there before, so I like the Chiefs in this game, man.
Hey, man, I'm looking for that big payback, man. The Chiefs are looking for that big payback because the Bengals beat them early, a little bit early. Well, I want to say about week 15, 14 to 15. So I'm looking for that big payback for the Chiefs to beat the Bengals. So I mean, I don't know how much of a defense is going to be played in that game. Little to none. If the Bengals don't play no offense this game, because they surely didn't play a lot of good offense last week. It was a lot of field goal kicks. So you're going to need more offense than what they displayed last week. As far as the Rams and the 49ers, man, For some reason, man, the 49ers got the Rams number. Oh, man, I don't know what it is. They find a way. And they got Jimmy Garoppolo, who gets sacked, at least 10 times and still find a way to win? How is that possible, man? How is that possible? Man gets sacked almost 10 times and he still found a way to win that game. It's unheard of, man. So that's going to be an interesting game. I'm going to take the 49ers and the Chiefs, man. It's going to be a repeat of the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
You got the 49ers and the Chiefs.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking for an upset in that Chiefs Bengals game. You know, I really like the Bengals. I really like Joe Burrow. You know, I'm a huge believer in Joe Mixon. You know, I think that team is really put together well. It seems like they have a lot of great chemistry too. So even though football is kind of a different sport in regards to how that works, I still think that cohesion is definitely working in their favor right now. And you know, I'm not saying that the Bengals are better than the Chiefs by any stretch. I just think that it would be really cool to, you know, for the Bengals to make it all the way to the Super Bowl, because then it, you know, in terms of them catching lightning in a bottle, that'll be true. But it's also, you know, be really exciting for their future. You know, I think it's about high time that the Bengals have not been terrible. You know, I think they haven't really put up much of a fight since the Ocho Cinco days, pretty much. And then as far as the 49ers and Rams, if the Rams go out here and lose to Jimmy Garoppolo, I think it'd be a tragedy, because again, they got too much talent, and the 49ers, all their entire offense is mostly just Deebo Samuel. Hand the ball to Deebo Samuel and hope that he makes a great play. So it's kind of crazy that they've been able to ride that kind of game plan all the way to, you know, to nearly a Super Bowl berth. So the Rams being the team that they are with all these defensive weapons and so much speed, you know, you would think that they would be able to have a plan for that. But again, they haven't been able to have any kind of plan for it. So it's interesting to watch. I'm interested in seeing that game too. I don't want to sit here and be confident saying it's going to be the Rams, but I just can't imagine them losing again. I can't imagine Matthew Stafford going out there with all that he has on the line. You know what I mean? He can't go out there and lay another egg. We'll be all over him. So if he goes out there and does that, more so than we would be on Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers, just because I don't think people are really that big a believer in him like that. I think that they're waiting on him to make that big mistake so they could put Trey Lance in there. But, you know, them making the Super Bowl kind of just how, like Aaron Rodgers was talking about, him doing well last year, put a monkey wrench in the Packers' plans. I think that Jimmy Garoppolo did the same thing with the 49ers, where him being able to take the team all the way to this success has kind of put a big wrench in the whole organization's plans for Trey Lance. But the Rams got to go out here and perform. I'm going to take the Rams by a touchdown. I think the Rams get some kind of pick six or like some kind of fumble recovery, and that's going to be the difference in the game.
I kind of want to bring this up. I know we're talking about the games today, but I do want to go back last week with that Bills and Chiefs game. I caught maybe like the last 5 minutes of the fourth and the entire overtime. I was just amazed at what I was seeing, and I was sitting there wondering, was it just bad defense with both teams, or was it more greatness from the quarterbacks? Like, what do you guys think?
It's just dynamic offenses. You know, those guys have, I mean, you have two mobile quarterbacks, so you can't just drop back in the prevent and plan for the pass, or you might get a 40-yard run from the quarterback on you. You know what I mean? So the defense, you can never be comfortable. You have to be reactionary against both of those teams. And they have great weapons, you know, little Tyreek Hill running across the middle, yards after the catch. You know, that dude is amazing. You know, Cole Beasley, them slants across the middle, like they have dynamic offenses. And then you have the long bomb, you know, where you could throw it 40 yards to Kelsey or Stephon Diggs on the other side, you know. So I think at the end of the game, you know, the defenses are tired and the offenses are great. So you'll have a situation like that. But yeah, that was Super Bowl. That was a Super Bowl type ending, man.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think what we're seeing now is we have, like I said, we got 4 quarterbacks now who are a product of what we're seeing down at the college and high school level now. offense is way more advanced than it was 10, 15 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. Like, you have now, if you go down places like Texas and Florida, you got fifth and sixth graders running the spread, bro. You know what I mean? Like when I was in fifth and sixth grade, we was running the triple option. You know what I mean? Like now you got kids going to quarterback coaches at fifth, sixth grade. So you're just going to see a continuation of this now. Like it's even affecting the way teams draft. Like the next position you're going to see. Remember, you know how they devalued the running back now. You might see the wide receiver position being devalued now because now every draft you've got 10 guys who can be a legit number one wide receiver because kids are playing 7-on-7 earlier. They're playing a high-powered offense in high school. Then it's the norm in college. Now you can't even point out a team right now in college that runs like they run the ball down your throat. Even Ohio State is slinging the ball around the field now. So this is just kind of like we're seeing the manifestation of what's come from lower levels now, man. And defenses are here bad. You can't jam. You can't take a receiver's head off over the middle of the field. Like we got receivers casually getting 250 yards in playoff games now, man. That's unheard of, 5-10 years ago, man. So we're just in this hyper era of hyper offense. You got to, score at least 30, 35 points a game to win a game. And this is just where we are with the league, man. If you don't have one of them dudes, you out here bad.
But like Kyle said, they're big and mobile, and then they got a strong arm. So even if they was to go out the pocket and throw it off of 1 foot, they could still chuck it 40 yards easily. And then it just comes down to if they got the accuracy. But they get it down 40, 50, 60 yards, just depending, on how well their footing is. But I've seen Mahomes do it. I've seen Josh Allen do it. And those guys are definitely number one, number two. Lamar Jackson is looking sweet this year, so he lost his number 2 spot to Josh Allen for sure. That game solidified a lot of Josh Allen's future thoughts and potentials and conversation around him because he showed out. Like I said, they went back and forth toe to toe, and it was a good game. You can ask if it was bad defense or great offense. I'm thinking it's more great offense because, like I said, it just comes down to reads and if you can make the right read in the right moment, and they both did. So yeah.
Kind of have a feeling that go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead, bro.
I was going to say, I just have a feeling, this is kind of a brief aside, I have a feeling that Josh Allen is going to be like the Phillip Rivers of the next couple quarterbacks. I don't know why, but I don't see Buffalo getting to, winning a Super Bowl or getting there. I just feel like they got too much competition in the division to really get there. And, it's just something that, they have too much to overcome in the AFC for Josh Allen to really get there. And so I don't know. I just feel like if there's going to be a new batch of quarterbacks who are going to carry the league, one of them guys has to be Phillip Rivers. And so if it's not going to be, either Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson, one of those two is never going to see the promised land. And I don't know which one is going to be. It might be an easier pick to just say Lamar Jackson just because of the style of which he plays and his game is easier to criticize versus Josh Allen, who's like a new age Ben Roethlisberger almost. But I don't know. I feel like they come up with against too much talent, and that's just in their division. The NFC has its own issues. So I don't know. I don't know if the Bills are going to have enough to really get over the hump in these next couple of years.
I definitely got to disagree with you on that one, Kyle. Look, man. Remember I said last week that we're at this precipice where we're going to figure out if Josh Allen is what's your boy down, if he's Cam Newton or if he's something else. He proved that he was, Cam Newton was what you were talking about. The guy was good, but not great. There's all these other quarterbacks in his way, the Aaron Rodgers, the Drew Brees of the world blocking his way. Man, it ain't a quarterback with a pulse in the NFC East over there right now, bro. It ain't a quarterback he's going to be getting to a lot of championship games in the more times. And I know what I'm saying because I understand it's Buffalo. It's Buffalo. I get it. They got a history of not pulling through. But the more times you put yourself in a position to be at the doorstep, you're going to go through the door. And this is the NFL. Guys get hurt. Guys get traded. He ain't going nowhere, man. That dude, they're going to build a statue for that dude in Buffalo in about 2-3 years, man. So I got to disagree with you because the only person standing in his way is Mahomes. and really maybe Herbert, but they don't play in the same division. So he's going to be facing one of those two guys in maybe the divisional round or maybe the conference championship. But I gotta believe if they've got a smart enough brain trust to put players around him, they're going to break through, man.
But are they really that
there's
much
no
better?
Dallas Cowboys waiting on them in the NFC. Bro.
Well, yeah. I mean, but are they really that much better than the Browns? You know what I mean? In terms of talent, are they really that much better than you know what I mean?
Yes.
Than the Chargers? Are they really that much better than the Chargers?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, with the Browns don't have a quarterback.
True.
You know what I mean? Like the Browns gonna be out here looking for another quarterback in the offseason, man. So just off that, they way better.
For sure, they are way better than the Browns. To me, I'm starting to question the Browns coaching staff and the decisions they make, and still having Mayfield as a quarterback. Man, I wouldn't sign him to a long-term contract. Matter of fact, I would sign Mayfield to a 1-year deal. So yeah, they're better than Cleveland. They're better than Baltimore. They're better than the Chargers. So I mean, I can see them really. I mean, if this thing don't work out with Mahomes eventually, I mean, they could take over the Mahomes spot because they could start getting to the AFC Championship game, and you could see the Buffalo Bills being that team stepping up. Because I like the whole staff. I like the way they run in the organization. I think they're doing a great job. I mean, they bringing this man along slowly but surely. They see the potential in him. They already gave him his contract, so he's under contract. To me, they got a couple pieces they need to fix with it. Maybe at the running back position, maybe one more receiver, and they're gonna be solid, man, for the next few years.
Yeah, agree.
I think eventually the Chiefs gonna have some salary cap issues they're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah. One thing someone said to me a couple of days ago was, well, you know, they're not going to be – who wants to go play in Buffalo? Well, who the hell wanted to go to Green Bay the last 10, 12 years? But they sure seem to find receivers and other players up there in Green Bay for the last decade and a half driving the Bears crazy. You know what I mean? They always got – like, man, the Packers just be pulling up wide receivers out of nowhere. Like some dude that went from Division 2 that you ain't heard of 15 minutes ago, and they get the free agents too. I mean, it's not the best play. I think the Packers and Bills parallel with the way they works really good. A lot of people perceive Buffalo not to be a destination for free agents, but if you got that dude playing quarterback, them receivers gonna want to go.
So let me ask you this. Now, don't jump down my throat until you taken a deep breath and thought about it. If you're a free agent, you know, you're a free agent wide receiver, let's say, okay, Allen Robinson, you know what I mean? All other things being equal, you know, if he has an opportunity to go anywhere he want to go, would you rather go to Buffalo or Cincinnati?
I'm going to Buffalo, man. Definitely going to Buffalo. Matter of fact, well, Allen Robinson needs to figure out how to stop falling down after he catch the ball before anything. You know what I mean?
The disrespect for Allen Robinson, boy.
Bro, did you not watch the last 3 years? Bro, that dude, all he do is run 5-yard ends and fall down after he catch the ball. I'm like, dog, you allowed to run after the catch in the NFL, bro. You don't have to just fall down after you catch the ball.
Man, I did not know people hated him so much.
Bro, I'm telling you, if you a true Bears fan and you've been watching the last 2-3 years, everything to do is hitch to Allen Robinson, he falls down. Slant to Allen Robinson, he falls down. You know what I'm saying? Like, when the last time you seen that man run anywhere after?
I mean to make you go off on this, Avon.
No,
I mean,
it's just here's the thing. It's because we're hearing a lot of talk. Well, what are we gonna do about Allen Robinson? Well, he's gonna be a free agent. Like, we ain't gonna do a damn thing about Allen Robinson. Let that man go about his life and go find me a real wide receiver.
Hey, I can't fault it, but I'm not a big Allen Robinson fan myself, and I definitely see what Abe is talking about. Talking about how, he's easy to be tackled. I mean, it don't take much. You blow, and the wind blow too hard, he gone. He all up in the sideline. Like, damn, he act like somebody smacked his ass. But man, hey, I'm just trying to figure this out, man. The offense. I mean, I think the score changed about 4 times in them last few minutes. We had 4 lead changes in that last few minutes, and I was sitting there watching the game at night. And I'm thinking, shit, 13 seconds left, man. It might be over. I'm about to lose my bet, But for some way, somehow, that dude, dude, that dude's a superstar, man. Right now, I don't know. I know they still talk about Brady. He's the greatest, and he is. He's a GOAT. But for now, for all we know, he's retired. So a new great gonna have to step up. A new top-notch quarterback gonna have to be that man. I don't think it's Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is done. I mean, but what I seen last week, we got a couple. The future's bright as far as the quarterback position in AFC. Now the NFC is still up. It's up for grabs because I can't pinpoint no superstar quarterback. That I would want to label a superstar quarterback. Because like I said, Aaron Rodgers is done now, and he might be in the AFC here come this time next year. Who knows?
Yeah, it's
I
going
mean,
to be
Denver's trying to
close.
get at it, so we'll see.
So you think Aaron Rodgers ain't got nothing left?
Nah. 49ers been cleaning that dude's clock, man, for year on year on year, man. Was it 3 years? 3 out of 4 years he's been beat by the 49ers in the playoffs. Yeah, I think he's done for, man.
Best thing Aaron Rodgers can do is go convince the 49ers to let him play quarterback for them. That's the best thing he could do.
Or the Giants.
He could go to Oakland.
Hey, can't beat him, join him, Ivan.
Get Derek Carr up out of there and send Aaron Rodgers out there, you know what I mean? Or I can see Aaron Rodgers going to a lot of teams just off the strength of him still being Aaron Rodgers. He put up that's why I was kind of surprised to hear that Tom Brady retired, because they both put up MVP caliber years. They both could, and they're going out of the season relatively healthy. I know that might be way more important to Tom Brady, to support him retiring, because he didn't to retire without any real lingering injuries. He even took off the knee brace last year and this year, so it makes sense for him. But Aaron Rodgers, I feel like he's got a lot left. With the right situation, he may have another little Super Bowl run left in him. So I don't know if he wants to go to another cold weather team. I can see him going to somewhere that's in a dome. That way he can try to dominate the way Drew Brees did all them years in the Superdome. But man, Aaron Rodgers, he got at least 2 years left. Or at least as we sit here today, it's not like he's, being like Cam Newton and he's throwing a bunch of picks, or he can't get the ball to him, or his throws are soft or anything like that. It's just he kind of wore out his welcome, just in the NFC. It seemed like don't nobody, we just tired of seeing him. So he may have to go to an AFC team, end up on the Jaguars or something like that. But Aaron Rodgers got at least 3 more years in him. I can see that easily.
Yeah, I see that as well. 3 years max. In the right situation, he can help right away.
Yeah, the thing I'm thinking about is that if he would have won, then he wouldn't be talking about it. He's talking about it because they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing with Brady. If they would have won those games, and let's say to go all the way, they'll still be talking about coming back next year, because there wouldn't be no reason for him to leave. I don't think you should leave off the strength of an L, but some people just like, maybe it's about time for me to hang it up. And I get it, but I still think both of them have a lot more talent to actually put out there.
So who y'all taking today again? But for the 2 games?
Man, I'm going to 49ers and KC, baby.
The Rams is going to win, and the Chiefs. I think the Rams are going to win it all, just because I feel like something in the energy in the world and the system is going to get Odell to redeem himself, and Matt Stafford to redeem himself, and everything's just going to line up, and it's just going to be great for them. I don't know why, but a lot of people are going to be mad because they're going to bet on Mahomes and they're going to lose their money.
I'm going to take the Chiefs and the Rams.
Chiefs and Rams.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the safe side. Chiefs and Rams. If I was a gambling man, I would take the Bengals. If I was a gambling man, I think the Rams, being how close the game was last week, they left Brady left stains in their underwear, man, shook them up a little bit before they got that win. So they not playing this week. They're not, they're gonna capitalize on the mistakes, man.
So now, being that y'all took the Chiefs, y'all don't think that his current situation, with his wife right now, she's receiving some backlash for spraying champagne all over the fans last week after them winning. She thought she was in the club or something like that, but she's in the skybox shooting champagne down on people in the wintertime. So, do y'all think that that's having any impact on Pat Mahomes at all? Do you think he could be playing better? But if this is going on, that's kind of keeping him from it. What's going on with that? I mean, they're not married. They've been, they do have a child together, so it's not like they can have some kind of clean break. They are high school sweethearts, so it's not like she's a woman that he met when he already got on. So it's a little bit of a more complicated situation than his girlfriend, So do you think that it's having any impact on him at all? Like his brother might be? Is it like a horrible situation? What can we attribute all this to?
I'm gonna speak on this. And yeah, she is a fiance. She's not a wife yet. But we often talk about this across the network about when you pick your wife, how she's going to represent you. I think it's very important to her being aligned. And yeah, look at that. I don't even know why this would even come to mind. I mean, if you was to do it in the skybox is one thing, but to actually just pour it out over the entire, over all the fans, it's just reckless. It's just reckless behavior. She's young, right? Anybody know her age?
I don't know her exact
I
age,
don't know.
but
She's probably about 24, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, either way, we do have some responsible 24-year-olds. So we often speak about how they have to represent you, and especially with him being a superstar. You got to protect the brand. You have to protect the brand. I think that it's very important that you make sure that you fall in line and understand how this can impact the brand. If I'm not mistaken, there are some other things that she's been involved with, and I believe you guys spoke about it, some dealings with her brother, but he has to come home to that, and he has to have a peace of mind. This is just something else alone that he has to think about along with winning. So he has a game today. He has all of this in there. Like, what is she going to do today? If I win the game today, what is she going to do? What are the fans going to be doing as far as booing me because of the things she's done? It's just so much to consider. And I feel like she's not doing him any justice. She's not adding to the brand. Like when I think about a wife, and I'm pretty sure there are plenty of wives that are married to superstars out there, but I do think about LeBron James' wife and how you never hear anything going on with her. She understands the assignment. She's there to fully support him. She's taking care of the kids. It just seems like all around it's a great thing going on. So if anything is happening, we don't know about it, which is a good thing. They're not letting the leak out there. She's not out there being extra. She's not doing it for the gram, doing it for the camera. She just understands his position and she understands her assignment. So it's very unfortunate that she's out here being reckless. I'm pretty sure it's on his mind. And you could just kind of see the looks on his face sometimes when all these things are just going on. It's like it's another one. It's another one. That's just my take on it.
I'm sure, honestly, I mean, I don't know if you guys heard his voice before, but it's kind of funny. And in my head, I was laughing earlier because I'm just imagining the conversation he had with her. I'm sure he like got home and they talked about it, and he was just like, "Bitch, just sit the fuck down, chill out, just sit the fuck down." And his little raspy frog-like voice, like, "Just sit the fuck down." Like, I swear to God that like he probably just got mad. He's like, "Why are you being so extra right now? Like, I'm just trying to play games. Like, why are you recording yourself spraying champagne?" And he's just like, "Bitch, just sit the fuck down, chill out." And he probably told his brother the same thing. And so I don't know. He's probably, yeah. I would be mad. I don't. My question is like, why she even recorded herself? That's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like such an attention grab that it's like, why are you doing this? Like, are you deliberately trying to fuck with his credibility or his fame or his money? Like, are you deliberately trying to do this at this point? Because it's like, I'm sure she already knows, and they've had this talk. She made the damn T-shirt, something about Brittany, and Team Brittany, and so it seems pretty deliberate at this point. You know what I mean? Like, she's deliberately trying to fuck up the brand, and I don't even know how he's allowing this to happen, other than maybe we don't know something about Patrick Mahomes that maybe he is a simp. Maybe Patrick Mahomes don't run his household. Maybe he just lets his family run over him. I don't know.
I mean, she did come out with a quote saying something to the extent of she wishes she could just do whatever she wants to do and nobody would notice, which I found to be like crazy disingenuous because you are the fiance, mother of the child of Pat Mahomes, who is I want to say he at one point had the highest contract in NFL history for an offensive player. And then he's also a Super Bowl champion. He's been to the Super Bowl like the last, like 3 out of 4 seasons or something like that. So for her to think, oh, I wish I could just fly under the radar when you're not doing fly under the radar activities, it doesn't make any sense. So I would say that it's deliberate. I think that, she might be one of these people who likes to Google herself. She likes to see herself online, with headlines above her head. She was a soccer player overseas, so she has a little, competitive spirit. Some of that might be manifesting itself as jealousy. She wants to be maybe known as the athlete in the family or known as a money maker too. Being that they're not married, I'm sure she might have to find herself having a plan for income for right now. You know what I mean? She might not want to heavily rely on Pat like that. So I think she's a co-owner of some kind of, fitness organization in Kansas City. So she definitely has a lot going on for herself. And I think that's probably one of the things that plays against the situation, because now she wants to be her own person. And because she's trying to be her own person, Pat may not even really be able to regulate that situation the way he needs to, because he's worried about the game coming up. He don't even have time to be telling her, hey, don't be doing X, Y, and Z in the stands. He probably don't even care about that. So, I mean, not to say that he doesn't care, but like, how much energy can you put towards that, given that, you're supposed to be preparing for this, playoff game to get to the Super Bowl. So I think that she's definitely doing all this deliberately, maybe not so much malicious to do anything to Pat, but clearly she wants to be her own person and be her own social media personality. Who knows what kind of aspirations they have. I mean, it kind of relates back to the Aisha Curry situation, where she wanted to come out with a furniture line and a cooking line, and she wanted a reality show probably, and she wanted to, have a red table talk like, Jada Pinkett and them. She probably had all these plans. And, her husband, Steph Curry, was like, nah, we're not doing all that. All I need you to do is be here. So it's definitely something that may be prevalent in the sports world that those of us who aren't privy to that may not know about. But Pat's going to have to do something, because he can't keep maintaining like this.
Hey, Cal. She need to let look. I think he's starting to realize I made a bad investment. And what do you do with your bad investment? You take the losses and you move on. So, dog, I need to reevaluate at the end of the season. As soon as this season's over with, football season over with, guess what? I'm gonna evaluate her like I do everything else in my life. And she might have to get cut. I'm gonna take the loss. I will take care of my child. I will support my child financially and emotionally and do what I have to do. But she's got to go. Now, as far as my brother, there's nothing I can do with it. I can't choose him. I can't do that. I'm stuck with his ass. I'm gonna limit him. He gonna be limited. He's not gonna be around my circle that I need him to be around. If he does his own thing, I'm gonna have some distance between me and him, where they're gonna say, well, he's being a distraction. No, he's not gonna be a distraction, because I'm not gonna pay him no mind, because I'm gonna distance myself from him. And if the family don't like it, then we could talk about it. We can go through it. But I'm gonna let them know. I'm looking at the big picture. I'm the prize. I'm that man. I'm the provider in this family, and everybody else is benefiting off my name. So if that's the case, then I'm gonna have to call this shot. I'm gonna cut her loose. Hey, baby's still gonna be around mama, daddy. You can still see the grandbaby, because we'll have our issues. We're gonna sort things out in court. We can do it out of court, have a meeting, do what we need to do. But I need to cut you loose, because you're too much of a distraction. You're too much of a headache. You're too much trouble. When you sit there and want to be bigger than what I am, and I'm the breadwinner, oh no, we can't have that. You got to go. So if you want to do your own thing, it won't be under my last name. I'm not marrying you. We're not going to get married. I'm sorry.
Hey, Hick, I'm gonna be honest, and it's just up in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't have a child, I believe it'd be an easy decision for him. But given how she's acting now, I can only imagine how she's gonna act when he says, "I don't want to be with you no more," and they got a child. She's gonna try to come for everything.
I'm sure she is, but I can't let that be the reason for me staying around.
Well, I think it's a lose though for him, because if he says he kicks her to the curb, she's gonna be extra. She's gonna make sure. She's definitely gonna be on social media.
But hey, Jay, I tell you this, I'm gonna be able to keep my sanity. I'm not gonna have to think about her at night. You can do all that. You can continue to show out all you want to, and I'm gonna let you do your thing because there's nothing I can do. Once I cut you loose, you your own person. I can care less what you do now. You can say all manners of evil. I'm gonna keep doing my thing, keep being me. But you're gonna look like the fool by yourself. You're not gonna look at the fool with my last name. No, we're not. You got to go. I'm gonna take that loss financially, emotionally, and mentally. I'm gonna take that loss, but I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be at peace with my decision.
Look, man, low key, I think he's used to the dysfunction. Both these people have been in his life since his late teenage years. He's used to the dysfunction. He don't even know. He doesn't even realize it is dysfunction. They probably been causing. They probably look his junior year of high school. She was probably causing problems in the damn stands of high school. You know what I mean? She was probably on this BS back then, man. And I'm just going. This is something that I tried to when I was coaching. I would try to impress upon my kids, man. Beware of the attention whore. Beware of the attention whore. They will drag you down every damn time. They will stress you out. They will bring chaos into your life. Beware of the attention whore, man. You know, he's very lucky he plays in Kansas City because of her appearance and because he happens to be a very good quarterback. She gets grace, he gets grace, and that's not a place where they're going to come down on their neck like that. I mean, that's not a market where people are going to eat them alive. If he was in New York, LA, Chicago, this would be the talk of sports talk radio all day, every day, and it would cause way more distractions than it would in little old Kansas City, man. He's very lucky to be there. But to your point, Hank, man, here's the thing. We know what we're seeing. He don't know what he's seeing yet. That's the problem when you, and I can speak to this because I've been through this before. This is the problem when you start dating someone 16, 17 years old and it carries on for years and years. You get used to their dysfunction. You get used to their triflingness, and you don't see it as a downfall because you become callous to it. You get used to it or whatever, man. And long term, I wonder as they both grow older, he becomes more exposed media wise. He becomes more, I guess you would say, polished, and he becomes more worried about the brand. Does he see her more as a liability or an asset? Because you can't possibly consider her as an asset right now because she's taking away from the goal, and the goal should be playing championship football every year instead of me having to take questions and worry about what my wife or my fiance is doing on social media. Giselle Bundchen, Tom Brady's wife, is one of the most famous women on the planet. I couldn't pick her up out of a lineup, bro. Like, I think I could, but I mean, if you gave me 7 blondes, I'm gonna struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sure which one she is, but we don't hear shit about Giselle. We don't hear nothing about her. All she does is raise them kids, sit up in their stands, and be quiet. Now, I'm not saying women should be quiet, but don't be a damn distraction. It's clear that his girlfriend wants to be a part of the show. Beware of the woman that wants to be a part of your show. And he is clearly not understanding that. He won't understand it until she do something completely stupid. And she's already gotten him there. But at this point, she hasn't hurt him or his brand too bad. When she does that real dumb thing where it's drunk driving or some crazy stuff like that, and then it turns into an internet circus, that's the only time it's going to register to him, bro. Beware of the attention whores.
You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the manager should be speaking in his ear too, right? His manager. Okay. You know, I'm kind of thinking like, what does his manager say about these things? Is it really? But you know, some managers may not have the balls because it's fiance
or his agent or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you say manager, that's what I meant. Do you mean his agent?
His agent, yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Somebody that should have been the first person in his ear right there. His agent. I mean, I don't know
his
his
lawyer
relationship
probably
with his
talking to
father.
him.
Well, his agent is a lawyer. Probably is his agent.
Lawyer, both of them. Whoever. Yeah, you're right. That's true.
But
somebody talk to him.
I want to know what his relationship with his father is, Why did his father having a conversation about this? Letting them know, hey, these women are dime a dozen. Why are you dealing with this woman who wants more attention than you do? Why? Why deal with
And
that?
his father is a former pro athlete himself, so you would
So
think,
he already knows.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I need to know that relationship because there should have been a conversation. His dad already knows the blueprint, and if that was my son, I would already gave it to him. No, don't. She's not worth it.
I'm gonna be honest though. I believe the actual act of what she did wasn't a huge deal to me as far as celebrating a win. I just believe that it's her track record of all the things in the past that just amplifies this particular incident. You know what I mean? To the point where the media has put a microscope on her. So anything that she does, because actually they won the game. That was a hell of a game they won. She whooped out the champagne. We see people in the crowd do crazier things. I just think being that it's her and it's always something new, it just amplified that. You know what I mean? With him, I believe for a lot of these athletes, and y'all can tell me, it's almost like an escape, man. Like when you get out on our field, us as spectators, we look at it and we like, oh, he got all of this going on at home. I kind of feel like when they get on that field, that's the one time where they don't have to even consider a lot of, it's almost like an escape. They don't even have to consider what's going on in their personal life. I think some of them guys, when they see that clock hit 0 and they got to go back to reality, that's the bad part of their life. You know what I mean? Being on that field, no matter what the situation is, no matter how high the stakes, they've built for that. They're professionals. When that clock strikes 0 and they got to go and get all them texts and phone calls, this happened, the baby need Pampers, I just won a championship. Yo, I don't want to hear about, your baby needs a tutor. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it'll eventually come to a head. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna keep the microscope on her. She's gonna keep trying to raise the bar as far as getting attention and outshining him. It's gonna come to a head and it's gonna play out publicly.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing. Somebody like TMZ gonna catch her ass doing some old stupid shit. Either catch her or her brother, maybe both of them at the same time. I wouldn't be surprised, man. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, I'd be done with her ass. Look, we met in high school. I'll see you at the 20-year or the 10-year high school reunion. The hell with you. I'm done.
This is it just goes. I'm sitting here thinking about it. It has to just be a modern manifestation of where we are in society, with social media and people's exposure. Because I'm sitting there thinking, like, dude, I'm trying to think what other athletes that I grew up on had crazy ass wives, and I can't think of one. Like, but I think about Chicago athletes, right? I think about the two biggest athletes we had in Chicago. We had Michael Jordan and Walter Payton, right? So the way Connie conducted herself during Walter's career and then during his illness and then post him passing away, God, it was so classy, bro. Like that's what you want right there. Even Juanita probably had enough dirt on Michael to drag him through the mud for the next 20 years, bro. But she said nothing. She said, we just gonna go our separate ways. I'm gonna take care of these kids and try to give them the best household we can. I don't need to talk to nobody in the media. I was reading somewhere the other day, she done dipped off to Europe. She lived in Europe somewhere. She just quiet, just traveling and just mind her own damn business. Them women don't exist. They might not exist anymore, bro. We have a generation of women, especially her generation. What is that? Gen Z? These Gen Z women, and to an extent, these millennial women, they need attention like oxygen, bro. They have been raised with their phones. They have been raised with social media, and attention is like a drug to them. I mean, just being anonymous and just being out of the spotlight is just unfathomable. They can't process it, bro. And I think that we talked about this last week with Haskins, man. You know what I mean? Where it's like somebody got to pull these young guys aside and say, look, bro, you're a professional athlete and then you're a brand. She is not good for your brand. You need to find someone who knows how to play their position, because she clearly does not know how to do that. And she has no intention of learning how to do that, because everyone around her, they live in their phones, they live on social media. And if Tyreek Hill, whoever his wife or girlfriend is getting more likes on Instagram than she is, it probably drives her effing insane. So it's just these young athletes have to be pulled aside and say, you have to, when you're bringing a woman into your life, you need to think past what she looked like and what she can actually do for you, your brand, and your family. It has to be a bigger picture, and I don't think these young men are getting that guidance.
I do. I was kind of reading up a little bit about his family structure growing up. So he was an introverted kid. His parents divorced at 11, at the age of 11. Looks like he has a brother. He primarily lived with his mother. I guess he got a brother. His mother and father remain best friends, and he primarily lived with the mother, but they would split the time as far as who he was living with, but primarily with the mother. Both parents would still show up to the games and support, and to this day, they still call themselves best friends. I think after the divorce, he started to come out of his shell a little bit. So just a little bit backstory about him. His mother's is white, his father's black, just in case you didn't know already. He did experience some struggles as far as I guess being a mixed kid, but yeah, that's a little bit of back story behind his family.
Well, like I said, I can't say it enough, man. Patrick, I know you watching the show because it's the greatest show, it's the greatest network ever. So you have to be watching the show.
Obviously.
Leave that heifer, man. Leave the heifer alone. Get out. Get out, man. We seen the movie. Get out. It ain't worth it, man.
The crazy part is that they have examples in sports where they can point to and say, maybe that is a little more help. Like you said earlier, I couldn't pick LeBron James' wife out of a lineup, bro. I don't even know her name. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know her name. So you got examples in real time. I mean, even to an extent, I don't even want to go down this road, but even to an extent, Sierra on some levels know how to shut the hell up sometimes. You know what I mean? She even know how to play her position a little bit better. They have examples right there, but it's the shiny objects, bro. Some of these young cats see the shiny objects and they just cannot resist, man.
And what's crazy about Savannah James is I would guarantee you there's women out there who have social media aspirations who feel like Savannah James is squandering opportunities. You know what I mean? I bet you if you ask them, they're like, oh man, I'm surprised she's not on Instagram, and I'm surprised she's not on one of these reality shows, Real Housewives or wherever they live. You know what I mean? Or has her own show. I bet there's plenty of, publicists around LeBron James or, people who are just in their lives from a money making standpoint that probably have come to her and say, hey, you could get your own TV show in a heartbeat. So maybe she just took her responsibilities a lot more seriously in regards to raising their children than maybe some of these new wives do. But also, she and LeBron have been together, forever too. They were high school sweethearts and they struck out early. LeBron was an early dad. I think he had Bronny when he was only 18 or 19 years old or something like that. So they were very young. So they kind of had responsibility heaped on them early. Whereas, Pat Mahomes and his wife and his fiance, they just had a child. And, clearly Pat Mahomes and LeBron are different men. So the women that they're going to go after are going to be entirely different. So, but we can also say that LeBron chose a lot better too, because LeBron's wife is probably up there with, cream of the crop in terms of public image, not doing anything to mess up the brand, not putting herself in a position to mess up whatever image she might have. She's really not a public figure, but we all know who she is. So, and she hasn't done anything to mess that up. If anything, her silence and her being out of the spotlight has, risen her, value when it comes to the mystique around her. And I think that if more wannabe wives took a page out of her book, they probably end up in a lot better positions. But so many women, they don't want that. They got their brands on their mind, and they got their Instagram following on their mind, and their followers. So they think that I'm supposed to be out here taking advantage of the opportunities I have. I'm not some housewife. So it's kind of tough to expect some of these women to have these values when society and social media is kind of telling you to do otherwise. It's telling you monetize your pages, try to get you some sponsorships. She has a fitness business that she's probably advertising. I don't know if she's doing a good job of it, but I'm sure she has a whole lot of business aspirations that she wants to do. She don't even see Pat money for whatever reason.
Hey,
But
Cal,
nobody. I'm good.
Yeah.
Nobody said that she can't go out there and be on social media. Okay, that's cool. All that's fine. But some of the things you do, how you carry yourself, be professional about it. Even if you want to, have your own brand, you still got to carry yourself in a professional manner. And the thing she's doing is not a professional. I mean, who's going on to promote her? Somebody like maybe Jackass? You get on the Jackass show and be a jackass. That's the type of shit she want to do. That type of shit. They got a movie coming out. Go be a stunt double for one of them. If you want to do silly shit. But if you want to have a professional brand, do something in a professional manner, carry yourself, act, walk, talk in a professional manner. Not like this. Not doing silly, petty shit. Man, look, she needs to grow up. And if Mahomes won't stay with her, I would have to have that conversation. Baby, you need to grow up. We can't do this. We can't act like this. We can't carry like this. And if you're going to continue to do this, then I'm going to have to go into the different directions.
She got too much time on her hands, man. Honestly.
Yeah, like Kyle was saying, with social media, these housewife shows, basketball wives, those were created by wives who felt, I want attention. My husband is out. He's a professional athlete. I'm home with my purse, with my Birkins and my heels, my closet full of heels. Like,
they got too much time on their hands, man.
I'm important too. So they have become incentivized to do stuff like she's doing. She's feeling like, yo, I'm gonna get a show after this, whether we make it or we don't make it. I'm a personality that people are gonna come after. Like, hey, so you want a reality show? The Surviving Pat Mahomes, and boom, she's already built a platform for it.
Jay, look at Aisha Curry, bro. She was talking ish when they had one kid. What did Steph do? He's like, you know what? You got too much time on your hands. You got that cooking thing. I'm gonna give you 2 more kids. And she shut the fuck up. She ain't saying. She has been quiet. She has shut the hell up. Pat Mahomes, girl, either she needs to get involved with the brand and understand what she's doing when she's like, outside of her own. Because I feel like at this point she thinks if I fuck up, it's only on me and they only gonna look at me. You know what I mean? They're not gonna correlate that with Mahomes, but we do. So I think she either needs to get involved with the brand and do something there, or he need to give her more kids so she can, have more time on the hands. Because what do they say? Idle hands lead to the devil's work. So, like I said, she got too much time on her hands. She ain't, like I said, I've never seen women be on social media that don't have, that don't have time to be on social media. I don't use social media because I ain't got time to be on it. That's like people, you know what I mean? People in general, if you got shit to do, you're not on social media most of the day. You're not even looking to post anything on social media.
Look, man,
why would you give her more kids? That ain't gonna change her. More kids ain't gonna change.
I was gonna say something like that.
That's a bigger bill. I gotta exit on.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm trying to get up out of there, Sway. I ain't trying to be there. So me and more babies ain't gonna help the situation. That's more money I gotta pay out.
Yeah,
I'm not paying this for no more than I have to.
She needs a purpose. You remember in Scarface? You remember in Scarface when Tony Montana was laid up in the hot tub and his wife was talking shit to him or whatever? He said, hey, that's the problem with you right now. You ain't got nothing to do. Why don't you go be a nurse? Go work with lepers or something. That's what she needs to do, bro. She's got too much time on her hands. The bigger thing is she has no purpose. She probably has no purpose in her life other than showing up at that stadium every Sunday and being a damn fool. Then probably the 6 days of the week sitting up in his face, doing whatever she do. She needs to find something else other than that to do, man. Like you said, the idle mind, bro. She got nothing to do, and this is the best she can come up with. He needs to redirect her to a purpose.
It is crazy that like you ain't got nothing to do, so you decide to troll at your fiance's football games. Like you ain't got like you could go be an ambassador for something. You know what I mean? You could walk into any hospital, any organization, and say, "Hey, I'm Pat Mahomes' fiance. I would love to partner with you, bringing more awareness to X, Y, and Z." Just like her Team Brittany T-shirt, that's supposed to be like a part of the proceeds are going to anti-bullying organizations. But she should like stand up with the organization and push that more than like troll and then try to say, "Oh, well, the money's going to a good cause." It's like, well, yeah, but you still trolling. You know what I mean? Everything you're doing is still coming from a place of negativity and selfishness. So I think it's just crazy that the options seem to be just be crazy quiet and never seen, and we only see you at the ESPYs when you walk in the red carpet with your man. Or you got to be this, you want to be the next Kim Kardashian or something like that, where you want your own camera crew to be following you around and getting your every step. Like it's crazy that it seems like that's the only two steps you can really have, but it seems like that's it. You can either have you a quiet woman or a woman who wants to be the star herself. And so for a guy like Pat Mahomes, who doesn't strike me as a, making a lot of demands of his woman, that could be something that hurts him in the long run, because it's going to be a time where he may not be, America's sweetheart like he kind of is right now. And so as soon as that time comes, all of this stuff is going to, rear its head. Or if she gets into any kind of trouble, like was spoken earlier, any kind of DUI, any kind of assault case, any kind of misappropriating of funds with her business, anything like that. I mean, she's already on thin ice with her posts and heckling and all of that. So, it may spell doom for him later on. Everything's sweet right now. It's all good right now, but in a week, it might be messed up.
Hey man, I'm taking it at Teddy Pendergrass. You think you better let it go? She's gone, man. She's got to go.
Yeah, man, I think it's there's definitely a lesson that we can take from this as man, because whether you got a big brand, a little brand, your choice of who you make your wife to be is very important. I often tell my son, I say, look, man, you can go out here, if you're gonna have fun, then have fun. I'm mostly teaching him right now is how to make good decisions in the moment. I can't control what it is that he does. So if you get a woman pregnant, a young lady pregnant, then you're gonna limit yourself. You're gonna give your control to someone else, because at that moment you no longer have complete control of what your life is going to look like. Now you have to live for a child. Now you have to take time away from your purpose and whatever it is that you're trying to build. This is a lesson for all us men, and even the men that's in current situations. You have to look at yourself and ask to see, first off, are you living on your purpose? Are you getting the max out of your life? Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing as a man? And then secondly, your current wife or your fiance or your girlfriend, does she add value to you? Does she bring you peace, or does she give you a headache like every other day? These are things that we have to consider, and it's better to evaluate these these situations early on, because then you have complete control on what you're going to be involved with. You got to vet them. You got to vet them properly. You can't just jump at the first thing. I understand that damn punani be good sometimes, but you can't base it off of that, man. You have to really think long term on these investments, because that's what it is. It's an investment, man. You guys are trying to build a legacy, and sometimes somebody might not be right at that moment. Maybe y'all can rekindle later, but you have to think about it on the front end instead of on the back end when you lost some of the control.
Man, for sure. What you said right there, JR, that's a beam for sure. Thou wise, as my man really would say. I tell my son, I said, "Man, it's a whole lot of beautiful ladies out here in your high school, right? And all across your city." I said, "But let me tell you this: don't give a woman no title if they don't deserve it. They got to earn that title. We call your woman, they got to earn it. That's got to be a title they got to earn. You just don't give it away. You got to earn it." So guess what? You're gonna see these beautiful ladies now. When you go to college and you start playing ball in college, you're gonna see a different set of ladies. And they're gonna be a lot more beautiful, a lot more fully developed. And we all know what I mean. They're gonna be a lot more sexy, more giving, more flirtatious, and they're gonna be trying to get at you because they see your future in you. But you got to know how to distinguish the real from the fake, the right from the wrong. Just don't give anybody that title. They don't deserve it. They don't. They gotta earn it.
And something else I want to say too is I don't think kids realize how much of a burden they cause the parents as well. Because if you're one of those parents that actually care about your kids and want to be involved, if my son was to go out there and create a seed and it's a woman that's reckless, it's gonna fall back on me in some form of fashion because I'm sitting here having worried about having to try to coach him through it. Like I tell my son, I shouldn't have to check your homework. I shouldn't have to check your grades. It's like me doing the goddamn homework. I don't want to do this shit. I got too much other stuff to worry about, man. I got to keep checking your grades, keep checking to see if you attended class, if you cut, worrying about all these rules put in place because like some schools they don't play that. So now, if I'm not paying attention, then you're on the verge of getting kicked out. And I don't even know it. So it's a burden on us. It's also a burden. That's why I know me and Hank was talking. I promote health with the men, and us men being able to promote health with the women. We have to promote health all around because if you get old and you're not healthy, then you become a burden to your family. You become a burden to your kids. So things are reversed. So that's the reason why we have to curve all of that right now. We have to be living differently when it comes to relationships, when it comes to our health, when it comes to our peace. Trying to reduce the suicide rates. It's just a lot that we need to start paying attention to and focusing on the front end. It's just like somebody else said on the stream. Like when things happen, then we want to start praying to God. You don't call on God for nothing else. But then when you get in that circumstances when you lost complete control, now you want to start looking to a higher being to try to pull you out of the situation when you had the opportunity to control it on the front end. This is all tied back into whoever you are choosing. Men, we can't sit there and and try to blame the women. Like we control our destiny. We control us. That's where the dick discipline comes in. We often speak about that, having control on, where you plant your seeds. It not only affect you and the rest of your life, but it affects the child as well. Because what are you bringing these children into? There's plenty of reckless women, just like it is. It's some women that just not good parents. You see them all the time. You got women having sex with babies, like right in the same bed with you. They sitting around there, tumbling around too. Like people are reckless out here, so we have to be mindful of the environment that we are bringing these children in, an environment that we are creating for ourselves, man. Because we want less of a headache, less stress, man. You can't function, you can't be productive, you can't be the best version of yourself if you sitting out here like dwindling in the stress. It's not. You can't be mentally focused.
What he's saying, Sway, what he was saying, seeing facial expression, like single mothers, they'll be so eager to get it off. The child is in the room, or the child might be at the foot of the bed. You know what I mean? That's what he's talking about. Yeah. It
Yeah,
sounds like that.
yeah. I've seen, I heard stories about them, and you gonna believe because they concerned about themselves, man. I mean, they
Mhm.
was reckless. They grew up differently, man. So we have to start curbing it. If you listen to this broadcast, we have to be the ones to curb even life insurance. So it's a long list. Life insurance, making sure our kids are set up. When you have kids, 9 times out of 10, you living for them. You're not even living for yourself. Some people still trying to catch up on everything they missed because now they got the opportunity. But now you got other people to factor in. You got to spend time. Just because your kid is there don't necessarily mean that's not spending time. Spending time is engaging, interacting with that child, doing the activities. You literally got to mold them. They looking up to you. That's a mini you out there, whether it's a man or a girl. That's a mini you that's out there. What do you want to give them? What do you want them to be like? They pay attention to every single thing. When they young like that, they in that learning phase, so they mimicking everything you doing. If you say damn, or like they can actually pay attention to the time you say damn, and you will see them when they make a mistake or they drop something, they like damn, because they seen you. That's how smart they are. And I think we take that for granted. We don't realize what the kids are looking at. When the baby that at the end of the bed pouncing around, they probably remember that. some form. I still got visions that I remember. I can't paint the whole entire picture, but I still had these little small visions in my head.
Mm-hmm. Preach, big brother, preach.
Yeah,
Let
man,
me
that
say,
was all. I felt that was all wisdom. I feel like, it just dropped a whole gem of wisdom on us, and maybe Pat Mahomes just not there yet, and he don't have nobody in his life that's giving him that. I saw in the live chat a little bit that excuse me. I saw that he doesn't necessarily have anybody there giving him the discipline and the criticism. He might just have a lot of yes men around him. I mean, that agent, that's how the agent is paying him, or Pat is paying his agent, Pat's paying his manager. So Pat may not be trying to go to his manager or his publicist or whatever to hear about how his fiance is, X, Y, and Z. And he may not want to hear that from these people. So, it's definitely tough because being that they're high school sweethearts, it's almost like when you're a teenage boy, seeing like a stronger woman or a woman who can kind of handle herself, that may be something that you're attracted to. You may be drawn to something like that, especially if he lived with his mom the majority of his life, even though he had his dad in his life for sure. When you wake up and go to sleep and you're in the house being made meals and all this kind of stuff with your mom a lot, I think that that's going to impact your relationships with the girls you date. And if you're, with the same woman from high school to today, kind of like I think what was being spoken about earlier, you start to get used to the dysfunction to the point where that's your comfort zone. You know what I mean? You kind of look to her as someone who can handle herself, and she's someone who can, give it as soon as she could take it. You know what I mean? So Pat may not even be worried about her like that until it's gotten to be like a huge issue. So I think it's a complicated situation because they've been together so long. And, for all we know, Pat may not even care at all about that. He may just feel like that's something she doing. If you got a problem with her, maybe you need to go talk to her. And he may not even be taking real responsibility and accountability for her at all. And so, and being that their child is so young, you know what I mean? She might be like 2 years old, 1 or 2 years old now. And, so it might even not even be in his mind to be a parent yet. This is still just a baby who he doesn't really interact with too much because he's a baby and he's gone. So I think it's tough to really say, but, to those people who are acting like, oh, maybe they were together and he wasn't really that popular or he was kind of a nobody in college. I mean, Pat Mahomes was still a high average, yards per game, you know what I mean? Big games in Texas, you know what I mean, against guys like Baker Mayfield and whatnot when they're in college. So Pat Mahomes wasn't some walk-on nobody who got, who hit lightning in a bottle like the guy in Georgia this year. He was a bona fide guy and he was nearly a pro baseball player too. So his fiance knew who she was getting when they, as life went on. But I don't know if Pat Mahomes knew the woman he was getting as time went on. So that same fiery, you know what I mean, curse a lot, real, crazy chick who was maybe cute as a junior in high school. Well, this same girl who's still fiery and still argumentative and still want to get in arguments with people out in public at 22 may not necessarily be what you need in your life. And so, but maybe there's been nobody there to really explain that to him because he's too busy excelling on the football field. So yeah. I guess we'll just see how it plays out. And if they lose today, it's all gonna be a wrap. I'm sure people in Kansas City gonna be all over the entire situation. So I guess we'll just have to see.
Here's the thing, and I to this day I still catch hell in the Lapeef the online group about this stance, and everybody came down on me, said I'm crazy as hell for this. I do not believe a young man should enter into a committed relationship till at least past the age of 25, hell 30 at this point. Because think about this: what the hell has Pat Mahomes ever experienced to know about dating and or a woman? Or women, you know what I mean? The dude been with the same woman since he's 17, 18 years old. He don't know what he don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, has Pat Mahomes ever even been on a date before? Think about that. Has he even been on a date with a woman he doesn't know? He's been with the same woman since he was 17 years old. So like I said, we go back. He doesn't even know he's living in dysfunction because he doesn't have a reference point. He doesn't know that this woman is dysfunctional. He doesn't know this woman is bringing him down because he's never experienced any of. I mean, I don't know. He's a college quarterback. I mean, he might have had some little dip off on the side down there at Texas Tech. Who knows? But as far as the women he's taking seriously, how many women has he dated? How many relationships has he been in? He has no frame of reference. He doesn't know. You see guys get to their like I'm gonna tell you right now, here's a little background on me. I dated the same woman from the time I was 19 until I was 32. I spent 13 years in a long-term relationship. I had to start figuring out what dating was in my 30s, and it was a trip. So I can't even imagine what he's going through as an NFL athlete, as someone who has a lot of attention on him, and he's got a woman in his house who he don't know nothing else about but dysfunction and her acting crazy. He don't even know that there's women out there that'll sit their ass down, be quiet, and let him do what he needs to do. He doesn't even know.
You're right, Aiden. I mean, like you said, he doesn't really have a good reference. And you know something? I don't know what type of circle of friends he has around him, or if he has a lot of friends that can maybe even teach him or talk to him about the point of reference. Because you can have your buddies who has a little bit more experience and they could tell you about what they went through, and you could kind of learn from their experiences. That's what you kind of hope he's doing now, learning from his buddies or his teammates or family members' experience. So he knows how to maybe navigate a little bit better. But as of right now, man, I just couldn't do it, man. That's just me personally.
I
I
feel like
know
it
it's a
stunts.
child.
I feel like it stunts your growth. Like
Yeah.
you need to take L's at 19, 20, 21 to really learn about what life is, how to interact with women. If you don't learn those lessons early, it's real bad to learn them in your 30s or hell your 40s with some people or whatever, man. Like we always want to fantasize about, oh, we need to marry or that we do. We as a community do need to re-emphasize marriage, two parent households and all that. But that process should probably start at 25 to 30, not 17 or 18, because what do you know? What do you know? Like I learned more about women between the ages of 32 and 35 than I did from 1 to 32. You know what I mean? So his growth, he had no personal growth because he hasn't been allowed to grow. And that's the only way I can explain how you got a woman sitting up in your box like she's Puffy in a club sometime like circa 2001, getting the club wet with champagne. You know what I mean? Because ain't no way that we don't know. We don't know if after the game he pulled up aside, like, if you do that monkey ball ish again, we're gonna have a problem. We don't know if he said that, but the way he carries himself, I highly doubt it.
Let me ask y'all this. Do you think that because he knows her and it's a comfort zone, that may be why any of us would stay in a position where, maybe somebody on the outside looking in saying, hey man, that, the relationship that you in, or you and her probably don't really mesh, or, your girl's always going crazy. And your response is, yeah, but that's my woman. Me and her been through a lot together. You know what I mean? And we'll come thick and thin. She's always had my back. So now everybody else might see a toxic person who's, low key messing up if you weren't here and excelling so much, she would be messing up your image. But you say, nah, man, that's my girl. You know what I mean? She can, don't be mad just because she, got more money than you. You know what I mean? They start hitting you with all of that. So I'm just wondering, do you guys think that probably has a lot to do with it? She's a comfortable person in his life. She's a steady person in his life. He kind of hit success quick. And so, when you're looking around and you're trying to determine who in your life is really having your back, it might just be his fiance and his little brother, as far as he knows. To us, it may not be that, but to him, that's all he has to rely on, them two and his mom. So I just curious, maybe that could be it. I don't know what y'all, if that's an excuse or what.
No, not at all, Cal, because of being comfortable and just staying with an individual because you're comfortable going to keep you in a sexless marriage. Being comfortable, being in a comfort zone could keep you in an abusive marriage, mentally and physically. Being in a comfort zone could also keep you broke. And I ain't trying to have none of those things. So no, I'm not going to stay with her just because she makes me comfortable. I'm going to stay with her because of the situation she brings to me. She brings me peace. She's my support system when I'm not feeling well, when I'm down, or when I'm out, or just when things are looking bad. She's there for me. I'm not keen for her just for comfortability. And if she can't provide those things for me, what I'm just saying, then she don't need to be around. I'd rather be uncomfortable and happy than comfortable than miserable. You know what I'm saying? Bump that. But we was talking like JR was saying about health wise. Man, she's a walking headache. She's a walking headache. She gonna send that man to the hospital. He gonna have a heart attack or stroke dealing with a woman like that. So it's not worth it. No, hell with comfortability.
But you know, I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of people that have made comments and he said exactly what you said, Kyle. I'm sure of it. You know, those who are close enough to be that forward with him. And at the end of the day, no matter how many times you try to give your boy a heads up or tell them, yo, keep an eye out, or they got to go through it, man. It's nothing like actual hard lessons, you know. It's nothing like it. Going through that experience, recovering from it, you sometimes you just have to go through it. That's how some people learn. You know, they learn much better by experience rather than you trying to tell them what to look out for, and they adjust accordingly, you know. So he'll see sooner or later.
Hey, I'll tell you another thing. I don't know if y'all got to see the show yesterday, but one of the I'm sorry, uh, the Mr. Lee segment show. I don't know what was it called again, JR? I'm sorry,
The who? You
Mr.
talking
Lee
about,
show. What is it called again?
Sage Talk with Lee.
Sage Talk. I don't know if y'all got to see it yesterday. One of his examples was going out to a restaurant that he knows he frequents. I think like 5 different restaurants. But dude, the dude said something about leaving a chick right at the restaurant, leaving her on spot. Don't pay the bill. Walk out on the chick. That's what he said. Now that's some high damn it pimp shit. You talk about some uncomfortable shit. I you know, I haven't skipped out on bill since I was a shit 17 years old. For me to do it now as a grown man, I would be, I feel some type of way.
He said,
But I understand. I
but
definitely understand.
I think you got to add the context to it. So
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
what
Go
he
ahead,
said
Steph.
was that typically when he goes out, I should try to bring it up. I should try to. You know what? I'm gonna see if I can bring it up for you guys. Let me see if I can play it. Go ahead.
But no, but what he was saying was, you know, he don't feel like it's a future, man. He don't like what the things she's saying. Some of the words she uses. He's heard asking certain questions, and he don't hear what he want to hear. He gets up and walks out. Now he also said he's not gonna stiff the people on the
That's a
bill because
smart
he's gonna
man.
pay it later because he understands. They understand. They know him, and he's gonna pay the bill later. But at that moment, he said he's gone. He's leaving her ass on spot at the restaurant. And the purpose behind me saying that, man, is about being uncomfortable. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. He said, now if the woman look good, he might take a call back from her later, accept that she apologizes. We're gonna move on. But for the most part, he's gonna leave her there, leave her where she lay. And I don't blame him.
I think the biggest thing that we see in these situations is that most of the time there is some type of liability in the situation. You know what I mean? We don't, it's a kid or they're married. There's something. Like, you know what I mean? Guys are smart enough to realize if I ain't got no ties to this girl, I can just walk out scot free. And if I don't like her, I probably will. You know what I mean? But like we said, Mahomes got a kid, the family dynamic. I think they might come from the South. And so it's a little bit different down there. Like even the women, she might be a little hooper and hollering because she's from the South. Southern girls do like to, you know, get a little bit extra when it comes to celebrating stuff like that. So I don't really know where she comes from, but she seems like a Southern girl. But people were saying she was 21. That girl is 26. That girl is old enough, smart enough to, I think, to understand the situation and to understand that that wasn't a good move. But like I said, I more so blame Mahomes. If Mahomes isn't, communicating and being honest and telling her like, "Yo, baby, you got to chill out with that. We don't need that right now. You can't do that no more in the future." Like actually set some ground rules, and then like you said, he has to have the balls to be able to walk away or actually hold her accountable in some type of way. It doesn't necessarily have to be to walk away, but you got to find something to shake her up enough where she understands the situation and gets on code and gets on your program. And I don't know if Mahomes himself is there yet. I think he's getting there. I think he's growing. I think he's a learn on the job type of guy. I mean, even in the NFL, he didn't really know reads and stuff like that. And I think in his relationship, he's been with her since, he's young. It doesn't really have the structure or the figure in his parents to show him what it really looks like to set ground rules because they were divorced. So like, I think as he grows into a man, he'll start realizing like, I need to set ground rules or this chick's gonna have to kick it. And honestly, if he doesn't do that and she doesn't change in the next 4 or 5 years, I will see him divorcing her or not being with her no more and looking to get a second wife. I mean, most guys don't stick around if their chicks don't get on code, especially if you got a whole bunch of options like Mahomes.
Hey, Sway, if he leaves at the restaurant like I'm talking about, I like Mr. Lee's talked about, that's gonna catch her attention. Leave at the restaurant.
They live together. Her ass is gonna drive home or call an Uber.
No, you're not hearing what I'm saying. Leave
I
her
understand what you're
ass.
saying. I get
Leave
it. But
her.
it's easier said than done when y'all got things in y'all name together. Maybe y'all live together, or
That
cars.
heifer ain't got nothing in her name. That heifer ain't got nothing in her name.
I
Only
don't
thing she
know.
got in her name is her name.
I-
Everything she got, I bet that's at man's. Man, walk away, Mahomes. Walk away. She has
got the
nothing.
balls, man. I'm telling you, he's a builder type of, he's an on the job training type of dude where he has to grow into his masculinity. He's still, you know what I mean? Like you say, he got like the fame around 24 years old. And seems like a good, square guy. He's not, hyperly aggressive and, cussing. And he seems literally like a, just the chillest, squarest dude. And, you want to play video games with him or something. And I think he's going to have to grow into his masculinity with his girl. And he's like, he doesn't really, no one's in his ear telling him like, yo, you got to set that shorty right in a way that he understands that he actually has to put her in her place instead of them seeming like they just talking shit about his girl. You know what I mean? He actually needs somebody, or he needs to realize himself that he needs to put things in his life in line, or it's going to fuck up his future.
Hey, even square ass Bill Gates walked away. He left her at that restaurant.
He didn't walk away from his wife.
Bill Gates
Yes,
had him a
did.
girlfriend. He had him a girlfriend for that.
He had a
He
girlfriend,
divorced
and
her.
guess what? Hold on.
And
Bill
divorced his
Gates,
wife.
hold on. His wife divorced him first. Secondly, and the girlfriend was
However had
hold
it
on.
happen.
Hell, and the girlfriend was still around. He was still piping the girlfriend. The wife
Hey,
knew
all
about it.
that's fine, but he walked
He
away.
had the best of both worlds. She walked away because she found out that he was messing with the whole Epstein thing, and she was associated with Epstein, and he knew about it. That's why she walked away, and she got
She
money.
walked away.
She got her
Hey,
own money.
let me tell you this. It don't have to be the man to walk away. If a woman's in a situation and the situation's not going to be good, it's successful for her,
All I'm
walk
saying
away.
is, I understand what you mean, Hink, but I'm just saying that was a bad example. But I understand what you mean.
It's not an example. She walked away, whether it was him walking away or her walking away. If you're in a bad situation where you need to get away, get away. Mahomes, you got to exit right now. You're not married. Only thing you do is have a child with her. You work through the red tape. You work through the litigations and everything. Walk away. Man, walk away.
Man, well, I guess we'll see. We'll see today if it has any impact. We'll tell by his play. I don't think I think the Chiefs are favorite today. So if he goes out there and has a great game, and then we get the headline that she then got into it with some more fans, then maybe this would just be something that we have to get used to. You know what I mean? I don't know if this is gonna be, something that he knows and maybe we're all just new to it, or if this is going to be something that manifests itself. I think it's kind of new territory these days where the wives of athletes are really trying to get fame like in real time. It started with the Real or like Basketball Wives, I think is what kicked it all off. You know what I mean? Real Housewives and Basketball Wives, where the spouses of athletes and public figures are starting to get their own shine. And it's all kind of led to this where, she's just right now getting her social media shine on. I think it's tough to tell Pat, to kind of not break up, but stand up for himself, and confront that and risk his home peace. You know what I mean? If he has a child there, it's gonna be tough for him to figure out like a co-parenting situation and all of this. Like that's tough, especially for someone who's young and has a whole lot of other things to deal with. I can definitely see how people will respond saying that'd be tough to do it. That's crazy to do. I mean, I think this picture that JR has up, that's like a prom picture from them like in high school or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's gotta be something crazy.
She don't even look that good. Hell no. I'm running away from this heifer.
She look 40.
He don't have. He has no frame of reference. It goes back to what I'm saying.
God,
he has
damn.
no frame of reference. That man is a 9-figure quarterback walking around with that. He has no frame of reference, man. Like he don't know no better, man. That's the only. I don't like to talk about other men's pipe game or all that, but I would put $100 down right now if he ain't never touched another woman in his life. I really believe that now looking at her. He can't possibly have touched another woman in his life. Boy, he ain't gonna let her go. That's all he know. It's fear. And I'm really starting to look at it as fear. He sees what his teammates deal with the chicks that they deal, the Instagram chicks that they deal with. He see the unstable chicks that all his teammates probably messing with, the drama they dealing with the chicks. And this chick, no matter what she looked like, it represents stability and safety for him.
Facts.
Safety. And safety is right next to fear. You know what I mean? Like he think if I let her go, I gotta go out in the wild and deal with all these Instagram chicks and all these wild chicks that want me just because I'm a football player. He can't in his mind fathom separate himself from his safety. It is depressing, man. That's just Lord.
Honestly,
I mean, that's real though. That's real life.
That is real. But honestly, I think if her character was different, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I think if she was like this heartwarming, caring person where she was like maybe grew a connection with the people in front of her when she's in those box seats and she kind of knows them and get a rapport and like they celebrating together and they're like chilling or whatever it is, like not just seeming like she's coming out of the blue and now she's just spraying champagne at everybody. Like, who the fuck is you? Like, we don't know you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like an arrogant move to think you can spray champagne on random people. It'd be one thing if y'all was like at a party together and you knew all the people in front of, your box seat and y'all can enjoy the moment together. But if you just coming out there thinking that they should just know you or respect you or chill with you just because you Mahomes' girl, you're going to be foolish. You know what I mean? Typically the wives are getting a connection with the fans so they can build their brand more, but she over here just chilling with her box seat friends and on Instagram or whatever, and then coming out spraying champagne. Of course you're going to get looked down upon because that's an arrogant move to think you can just do that to people. So
Hey,
hold on,
man,
y'all. I think I might have found it.
On the Mr. Lee thing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let them brothers hear this. But I looked at that. Y'all show that picture, man.
Don't she look like she's 42 years old, man? That
Man,
was a high school picture.
She looked like she been hitting that bottle way too much and too long. She's not age. She didn't age well.
I ain't never been. Hold on.
That's the question and pause at that point. What I would say is that if you
Can you guys see it?
Yeah, we can see it
here.
All right,
we can see it.
Just getting into a relationship with a woman and getting to know her past relationship should not be what she's judging you by. And for you to take into concern whatever damage or not damage she may have is foolhardy of you. Don't concern yourself with those things. It's not your business. When you get into a relationship with a woman, you should have already have standards and boundaries in your life in which how you live, and you should let the woman know what behaviors are tolerable and what behaviors are deal breakers. And the first warning comes as you get to know each other. When she crossed the line, you let her know you crossed the line. There's going to be some kind of punishment for that. It doesn't have to be big, but it has to be a punishment. If it's something that you can live with. If she, like, for example, a deal breaker for me is public embarrassment. If a woman wants to get loud and display herself in the streets or in a restaurant and start pointing her fingers and trying to check me, I just get up. Usually, when I take a woman out, there's certain, I might have 4 or 5 restaurants that I enjoy. So, depending on the woman, I'll take her to a different place. But I already know the management there. So, when I get up, I ain't paying the bill. I'll pay it later. I'll just walk out. I'll bid her a good night and I'm out. And she have to figure it out. Now, if she's so attractive that I might give her a second chance, I might take a call the next day. I'm not going to take a call that night. She's going to have to think about her behavior and what she did and why. And she's going to have to come with the right tone and not be aggressive in the way in which she talked to me. And if I already mentioned to her that that behavior was not tolerable, then that could be a strikeout. If I never mention it because we never, dated that long enough for us to get to that point where, certain boundaries as we move along was being laid out, uh, then I would let her know that's a boundary that you can't cross with me. And if you ever do it again, I will never speak to you again and I would never see you. And you have to be direct and you have to be straightforward when you say it. And you have to look her right in the face and don't smile and don't be apologetic. I don't take apologies. As a man, I don't take apologies because an apology is usually fake 9 times out of 10. It's only given when you get caught. It's never given up front. Nobody have never come to me 2 weeks later and say, "Hey, Lee, I want to apologize about this because I did this and I know you didn't find out, but I want to be the first one to tell you." Da 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 da. That's a real apology, and that I would consider. But if you tell me after you get caught, you're just placating me at that point.
Sage talk.
Grown man shit right there.
Come on,
Man, you heard what he
man.
said. Leave that heifer at the restaurant.
Change that joint to pimp talk.
That's what I said, but I want to be politically correct with it.
Well, what are y'all final thoughts? Just in general, in terms of allowing our spouses to or just the women in our lives, even the men in our lives, for the women who are tuning in, allowing their home behavior to get in the way of our professional lives. And then also even to what the clip JR just played, or setting expectations and boundaries from the start. I know that's hard to do when you've been dating somebody since you were 15, 16 years old. To Avon's point, you don't even know what your boundaries are in your dating life. You don't even know what you won't allow. You haven't experienced enough. So in those situations, a person who you're growing with, they could act any old kind of way and it'll all just be something that you casually get used to. So I think that I guess we'll just have to see. But what do you guys think just in general? Is Pat going through something that the rest of us don't go through, or is he experiencing something different because he's in the limelight? How can we kind of apply this to everyday life?
I think I think the actual incident of her pouring the champagne or shooting out the champagne, I don't think that was bad. I think, like I said, that it's amplified because of her previous antics in these circumstances. I think that he's just gonna have to learn the hard way, but he's keeping her around and he's attached to that because think about it, as an athlete, all these new people coming into your face, all these strangers that are in your circle now, she's the one constant. You know what I mean? She's probably the one person that's been around from a time in his life, divorced with his parents. She's been the constant. So we are hard pressed to get rid of the things that kind of remind us of comfort or remind us of a safer time. She's probably his safe place, but at the same time, he has to make sure, like I think Sway was saying, that she's on his program, that this isn't about her. They have a brand to protect and she needs to move accordingly, not compete with that.
If I had some final words, again, it's always more to the story we don't know about, but just speaking in general to men in particular in general, I think we have to make sure that we surround ourselves with people that's going to be able to assist in not like identifying our bullshit, you know, more solid people. And it may be one person. I do have that person that's around me that'll call me out on my bullshit. So even though I take accountability for the most part myself. There are some times that some things I might miss, and it's good to have somebody that you can kind of bounce ideas off of, or somebody that will speak up when they notice something. So just surround yourself by people that have your best interest, no matter how big you are, no matter the situation, no matter how cool they are with you. And then also being able to take care of things on the front end before it's too late. So that's just my final words.
I mean, a man in his position, man, he needs to have a conversation, especially before if he decides to stay with this woman. If that's the decision he's going to make, he needs to have a conversation. It's all about the brand. My brand is going to bring us more income even after football, even after my sports career's done and over with, and I hang the cleats up. My brand could continue to get us income, could continue to get us a check, get paid. So let's try to do what we can to protect it, to respect it, and do what we need to do to continue to get this bread. Because hey, guess one day, like I said, the game's gonna be gone. The NFL check's gonna eventually stop. So what are we gonna do to have continuous residual income? My brand could be that. I could be on commercials. I can be maybe a sportscaster or something. Maybe I can help my own company and do this my own thing. Maybe I could be a coach one day in the league, or GM, or maybe eventually maybe an owner if that's what can happen. But it's gonna be all about part of my brand. And if you're gonna do things like this to tank my brand, that's gonna hurt our future. So to me, a conversation really needs to be had, and hopefully, if she loves him, she respect his wishes and follow through it and get on this program. If not, leave her ass at the restaurant.
I think the Kyle's initial question when he asked if this is kind of like a new thing or if this is, what's going on with the situation. I think if you're judging it within like the last 20 years, for sure it's a new thing. I mean, even within the last probably 15 years, 10, 15 years is a new thing because social media, man, like her just posting and doing all these things, these antics, it's like she's placating to someone else. You know what I mean? She's not doing it for herself. She's probably doing it even it could be as simple for her friends, like she's just trying to show out for her girlfriends or her sorority friends or her old teammates or whoever, her family, whoever it is, she's trying to show out for somebody in a public way to the most people, she can. And it just so happens that there are other people outside of her family that probably follows her and she's a big, household. She's getting, I wouldn't say she's a big household name, but her husband or future husband is a big household name and she can get a lot of clout off of him or like her actions can seem um correlated to him in some way. But I think it's like this whole social media game where you're trying to put your information out there and show like glamorize your life. That's kind of a new thing, you know what I mean? Like if you grew up in the era where it was developing, like you can either get a result like LeBron's wife, where she kind of didn't really fall into it, or you can get a result like Steph's wife, where she kind of fell into it a little bit more than others. Like my mom, I think she's around 40 something. She's like 41. She didn't fall into that. You know what I mean? Like I think if you're around 40 something, like they don't fall into it. But I think if you're around the 30 range, maybe 33, 34, you can see even women around there that'll love being on social media and know how to use it like it's the back of their hand because they just like posting. And and then younger than that, I think 95% chance got a social media account. So within the last 15 to 20 years, social media has affected relationships in a way people glamorize their lives and think things are okay. You even see people doing crazy things like just wild things like, illegal things like robbing stores. I think there was like a clips back in the day where people go get haircuts and just run away. Like that was the whole social media thing. Like people are going to do a lot of things nowadays for attention, men and women. But I think in relationships it has affected it because now you're placating to other people than your man or your kids. You're thinking about all these other people now. You're trying to glamorize your life or you're trying to do things you probably wouldn't do if you didn't think about that. Like I'm not thinking about spraying champagne if I got kids or my family around. I'm probably going to think about hanging out with them. I'm not going to think about recording this stuff. Like I don't think about that stuff when I'm at these situations. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a game
Man,
changer.
Sway, thank you for making me feel old, bro. That was a kick in the balls. He said, I think my mom's like 40, 41.
Well, my
Like,
mom
yeah.
had me when she was young, so
No, but still, it's just like, damn. I'm like, bro, I'm 42, man. Chill on that. But assets and liabilities, man, it's not just strictly for financial assets. It's for people. People have to learn who around them is bringing them value and who is taking a value away from them. You have to make hard calls on people. You have to do it with family. You have to do it with friends. You have to do it with business partners. Everybody, man. Assets and liabilities. And I hope he learned this question. He learns this sooner rather than later because it will get more expensive the longer it goes on. So I think last thing is that when I look at him, he's physically a grown man, but sometimes with his body language, he still strikes me as he has teenager energy. He doesn't look like he's a very mature in the sense of like knowing what's going on around him. And I think that's a real bad thing. A lot of athletes have a problem with. I've seen. I'm sure we'll transition into the NBA and some of the things that happened in the NBA this week. But I'm kind of seeing that with Carmelo. It's like, dog, you almost 40. Why are you trying to square up with people on the court, bro? You know what I mean? There's a grown ass way to handle that, bro. There's a grown ass way to handle that. You ain't got to run up on people in the crowd. You too old for that, bro. So I think he and going back to what I said, that growing up is sometimes hindered or that growth is stunted when you have someone in your life who's keeping you in it. She's clearly behaving like a little ass teenage girl too. That was the actions of a sorority girl. That's some shit you do on the quad when you at college or whatever. You know what I mean? Not when you're 24 years old managing a nine-figure brand. The best thing I think for both of them would be to grow the hell up.
I'm seeing Patrick Mahomes grow up, slowly but surely. I mean, like I said, I don't know if y'all watched him like his videos before he got the fame and everything, but I see him like he's like this goofy kid. Everybody was making fun of his voice, and I'm seeing him slowly but surely just get into the whole football mentality and take it more seriously, and you know, get that bag. He's not smiling as much, especially I think this year, losing a bunch of games that he probably felt like he should have won, or like, the whole Tampa Bay situation. I think he's taking his life a little bit more seriously, and I think he's going to, buckle down. And I don't know if he's going to marry this chick or not. I hope he don't, for his sake. But if he does, I think he need to buckle down his household, and I think he'll do it eventually. Probably by the time, give him another 2 years and see where he's at.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, let's maybe give them another year to grow. You know what I mean? I don't want to just tell them, hey, let's just end it. But to Hink's point, sooner rather than later, because you're only gonna keep making money. Time's only gonna go on. You're gonna mess around and maybe have another child with her in 2023, 2024. So, whatever path they're gonna go into. And I think that's for all of us. And whenever we see some red flags, we got to start to address them right away because we love that person, or cut it off to keep ourselves from suffering in the future. So I guess it'll just remain to be seen. If the Chiefs keep winning, then I guess we all just need to mind our business. But if things go sour, and when they go sour fast, I guess we'll see the end result of that. But to switch gears, we do in the NBA world have some all-star voting going on. To Aben's point, we do have some Laker, happenings or lack thereof, depending on if you're a fan of them or not. So we do have a lot going on in the NBA world. I guess we could start with the NBA voting. The biggest standout to me, other than the fact that the NBA is going on, I kind of forgot all about the All-Star game and the fact that it's so soon already, is that Andrew Wiggins is going to be not only an All-Star, but a starting center, or a starting forward rather, for the Western Conference. So, he's been kind of lighting it up for the Warriors. Steph's been kind of slumping lately. Clay, we really still can't put any real expectations on him. So it seems like Andrew Wiggins been, I don't know if carrying the Warriors is a word, but he be out there looking like Chris Middleton lately. So, are y'all happy for him? Is the All-Star game just a glorified, publicity stunt for the NBA to still remain popular amongst fans? Does that even mean anything anymore? What do you guys think?
I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy too. The one thing I like about him is his character. I don't really see him doing the most. I just see him going out there competing. I do listen to First Take, and I know sometimes it's often suggested that maybe it was too much pressure on him being a number one. I'm not really sure if that's the case or not. But like, nevertheless, I feel like he's a humble dude. He's grounded. I don't see him in the news for any BS. He comes in, do what he got to do, go home, take care of his family, and just like repeat and rinse. It's the same thing. So I'm proud of him. I don't know if it had anything to do with that pop star. Did y'all read anything about that? The pop star doing a tweet or something like that, and the pop star having an influence possibly of him getting enough votes. I'm not even really sure. I think the whole thing needs to be changed. I think you need to really look at numbers and stats and so forth to see who deserves to be there rather than somebody just being a fan favorite. I mean, I get it, because if you just go strictly off of numbers and they're not all stars, then I don't know if that has to be changed or not. But I'm proud of him. I think he's doing a good job, and I look forward to seeing his hard work pay off.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the fan voting. Or, I mean, I am, because I guess that's the point of the weekend, is like for fans. Anytime, like whether it's the Pro Bowl or the, skills competition in basketball, All-Star game, dunk contest, it's really supposed to all be, to celebrate the fans' impact on the game. So I'm not a huge fan of the fan voting either, because what you're saying, JR, it was a K-pop star who did like a huge push for Andrew Wiggins to, be an all-star. And the push was so massive that he became like a starter almost. So, I mean, again, it's not that he's undeserving of being an all-star, because, the Warriors are right in it. The times that Steph has not performed and Draymond has not performed and Clay was out at the beginning of the season, I mean, it was Andrew Wiggins ran team nearly in terms of production. So he deserves it. But I think it happened with, was it Jeremy Lin or somebody who got pushed into being an all-star when they really didn't deserve it necessarily. Like, it's not like their production was so crazy that they should be all-stars. So I'm not a huge fan of that either because of this reason. But in the end, it's to celebrate the guys who are having good seasons. And so, Andrew Wiggins over Luka Doncic is probably a little outrageous, but what can you do about that as an individual?
Hold on. I
should.
just want, let me say this real quick, and my apologies. I think it should go like, okay, if the fans want to vote somebody in, right? I think it should be two votes. I feel as though the fans can vote maybe, I don't know, what is it, 5 people, maybe 5 from the East, 5 from the West, or maybe 7, 8 people. They vote them in order to be on the ballot. And then ultimately they take the top, whatever number it is, of people based off what they've been doing throughout the season. And those are the all-stars. I think it would make a better game. I think people that wasn't considered necessary an all-star by the public would be able to compete and work hard and make a name for themselves. I wanted to get it to be like good basketball. I'm not, I mean, nobody's doing no dunk that we ain't never seen before already. I mean, some of the times people be going crazy off of things. It's like, okay, that was just basic as hell. I want to see some good games. I want to be able to, I don't want it to turn up in the fourth quarter, because all the rest of that shit is bullshit to me. I don't know if the kid, maybe I'm just too old or something like that now, because them dunks don't do nothing for me.
Nah, it's been a while since we had a good dunk contest. The last one was Zach LaVine and Gordon. Man, that was amazing, man. That
Gordon's
really,
been robbed too many times to where it's
yeah,
cheapened the entire dunk
that
contest experience, because they're giving everybody 10s, and then you start to just have to choose one, and they ain't, they didn't rob my man twice. So, and I'm sure other dunkers who see that, they're like, man, I did a 360, jumped off a trampoline, and I still lose. Like, I ain't getting out there for that. So, that's one of the things where, they almost get to doing too much, and then it ruins the experience. So
we're desensitized to it now, man. Like the dunks that Zach LaVine was doing in that dunk contest, there are high school kids doing some of that shit in game now, bro. Like for real, man. Like it's ridiculous. We're desensitized to it. It really takes a very special dunker, a very special athlete to kind of recalibrate us every 3-4 years, because we get into this loop of, especially with YouTube. You see kids in high school doing stuff on YouTube every night. You got, what's the guy on Instagram, Filet is showing us something that we see crazy that happens on a court or in the gym every day now, so we just desensitized to it, man.
I'm gonna tell you something I would like to see. I would like to see some of the shorter people, just all people under a certain height dunking. I think that would be something that would change, because you look at like Green for the Bulls. How tall is he?
6'4".
He's 6'4". Yeah, I would like to see people that's maybe like under 6'5", or maybe under 6'3", because some of them people, they just look short compared to everybody else. And when you see them do a dunk, it's like, damn, I didn't even know. I didn't even really see that one coming. So maybe everybody 6'5" and under that wants to
Yeah,
enter the dunk
yeah, I hear you.
contest.
I
I
hear
think that
that.
would be into just curious to see some of the height. What's the other people? There's some other people that got some
Man, you
springs,
know what?
man.
You can like
Ja
raise the rim to 13 feet too, and make the big dunkers. You want to. There's so many ways to be
Yeah,
creative. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
just keep
yeah.
rolling out 360 windmills and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like eventually
Yeah.
they're gonna get rid of it, because I'm sure the ratings are down. And I'm sure just that whole weekend. All-Star Weekend in the NBA used to be like an event, and now it's and maybe
Yeah.
given the current health pandemic, that might have had something to do with it the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But just in general, I feel like they got to do so much. And I don't want to see the NBA turn into a joke when it comes to the All-Star Weekend. But, they slowly getting there. I mean, with Andrew Wiggins, he beat out Rudy Gobert, Draymond Green, and Paul George to be an All-Star. Now, I'm not going to assume Paul George is having a great year. I haven't watched much of the Clippers, and I'm not a huge Paul George believer. But if I had to guess, I'm sure he's having more production than Andrew Wiggins just in general for the Clippers. Or Rudy Gobert, I would imagine that he's having a better season than Andrew Wiggins just in general. But again, I have not done the homework on that, but it's just surprised to hear that Andrew Wiggins got that much more voting than these guys who are solidified, position beasts on their teams.
And man, I know he didn't beat out playoff P, did he?
He did. He did. And I mean, and I agree with that, yo. I'll be honest, I agree with that. And I think the only difference is that, with Andrew Wiggins having a platform of being on a team with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson being out, and they're like, who's gonna step up, he has filled that role to the T. Golden State is a team that's broadcast on every channel. Last night they was on ABC, they on ESPN, TNT, you know what I mean? So they're heavily broadcasted where everybody sees those games. So you looking at Steph Curry and then you see this other dude cooking who you didn't know too much about. So I think he deserves it. I think he's definitely having a better season than Paul George. I would agree.
Man, I promise you, this is my last two things. I've been talking a lot lately. Two things I would like to see that I think that would help improve it. One of the things is maybe have like a 4-on-4 where you have like the Gilbert Arenas and the Joe Johnson against current NBA players. Just a 4-on-4 to like 12. It could be a half court thing. I would like to see that. I also think that maybe even if the fans vote people in, then like maybe they do like some 5-on-5s or something. I don't know. Maybe they do something where they have to earn a spot in order to be able to do it. I don't know if people are gonna be playing their heart off, but at least it'll make it much better. If you want to be here, you got to work to be here. We want to know that you're gonna really work. I think you kind of retraining people's mindsets and thoughts about what it means to compete instead of doing all this stuff for show. Because Avery made a good point. There's a lot of stuff you see on YouTube. You've seen this stuff already. Like nobody's just because you throw a alley oop from half court, that's nothing. Just if you do a windmill, it's nothing. You do a reverse, it's nothing. 360 is nothing. I'd be impressed when I see it in the game. So when you see Ja doing those things in the game, I think that's special. But All-Star, I want to see some competition, man. I really want to bet. I don't think people even bet. I think maybe bet the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah, they probably bet the fourth quarter, or the second half.
I'm sure they bet the fourth quarter, the over-under on the final score. Who's going to score the first basket? What will the first basket be? That kind of stuff. It's hard, though, because they shoot so many threes now already. So when the All-Star game come around, everybody's shooting like half-court threes, or they throwing up uncontested lob dunks. You know, the final score be 190 to 180.
Well, that's because nobody's playing defense. That's the thing. Like,
It's crazy to me.
play some defense on the front end. Like all this lazy play. I mean, play. I'm still thinking about the Jordan. I remember those. I mean,
It's crazy, you know, they play harder in them pickup games that you see online where a bunch of guys be in a random gym that don't nobody know where it's at. They play, it look like they be playing harder in that than they do in the All-Star game, but it's supposed to be the cream of the crop of the world of your sport. So, you know, they got to do something. I mean, I don't think that is, of all of the sports, NBA's All-Star is still the best recognition of your best players. But, you know, it's going by way of, you know, just not being something that people are interested in. Like, you'll catch the highlights and, you know, the ESPN coverage, like the Sports Center coverage after. But are you really going to watch a 2-hour dunk contest? You know, probably not these days. Are you going to watch an hour and a half hour skills competition? You know, I don't know if we're even so interested like that. So, you know, if Kyrie Irving is he even going to be around? I guess not. But he would still be in a skills competition. But I imagine he didn't get the votes, so he won't be around. So it's just all. It seems like they're in a transition of trying to figure out how to keep it fresh. But right now, it just seems like they're just kind of riding a wave that they created years ago because they haven't come up with anything new.
I think there needs to be a set ballot based off of production and the stats, and then the fans vote off of that. Like, instead of the fans voting in the roster, the NBA just has a set ballot of players from the East and players from the West, and you can vote per position like that. You can have multiple votes, maybe 3 votes, and you can vote a guard or like 2 guards and, you know, a forward and a center. You can figure out which, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that, but not leave the fans up to set the roster. You know what I mean? We can't just have them pick, you know, like a couple years ago, didn't they like vote in Zaza? What's his name from the Warriors, the big tall
Zaza Pachulia?
Yeah, they voted him in too, and like they just be having these weird votes every year. It's like we can't be having these weird votes that nobody wants to see them. We would rather have the athletes that we want to see, that we know are deserving of it. I mean, I think some years we can like nitpick between like the point guards. I know there was a period during the point guards where there's just so many of them. It's like, if you're going to pick Dame over CP3, you can pick Steph, you know, Dame, Chris Paul, Westbrook. I think they were all in like the Western Conference. It's like, how are you going to pick, you know, between that? So like, you can leave that up there, but you could put all 4 of those in there. Then you can have the fans vote off of that. You don't have to put in, like, I think there was one year they had like Jeff Teague, fucking Kyle Korver and Al Horford, just because their team was doing good that year. Like, nobody wants to see neither one of those players, you know what I mean, in the All-Star game, but I guess they all made it too. So I don't know.
Yeah, we had it here in Chicago, man. They was trying to push Caruso into the. I'm like, man, if y'all lost your damn mind, what's wrong with you? I love Alex Caruso and his defensive efforts as much as the next man. But if I got to see Alex Caruso on the damn All-Star court, and y'all done lost your damn mind. Stop it. Stop that. That is ridiculous, you know. Going back to the Wiggins thing, I think the thing I actually reflected on with the Wiggins thing was, I don't know if you guys remember when he was coming out, it was him and Jabari Parker were 1A and 1B. And I think about, what the hell, Jabari Parker? Like, what the hell, bro? Like, you'll still see him around the city. You'll still see him at high school basketball games here. He looked woefully out of shape. You know, like, bro, you had just as much talent, if not more, than this man, and you a journeyman. You barely you one step above the G League at this point, man.
And Okafor.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And like, it speaks to. I'm gonna give Andrew Wiggins his flowers. I remember, you know, what was it? There was a Sports Illustrated cover here, and you know, us being Chicago guys, we always want to, you know, put our kids up as the top kids in the country. And Jabari Parker was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and it said the best high school player since LeBron James. And at the time, I was like, y'all sure? You know what I mean? Like, are we really sure about? I mean, the accomplishments at the high school level were impressive, you know, but I'll give Andrew Wiggins his flowers because he was always 1B to Jabari Parker. He always was, and he's been consistent. He hasn't turned into a superstar, but he's turned into a reliable frontline NBA starter and now an all-star based off his perseverance and hard work. And I wish Jabari Parker would have got that damn message, man. I had to really reflect on that today, man.
Hey, I look at like this: the high school. I mean, high school. The All-Star games are, to me, all of them in every sport is trash. To me, truth be told. I mean, I can't take them serious, man. Because only thing I like about is when they try to do the little draft a couple years ago. I thought that was pretty decent. But hey, I got an idea for the NBA. Why don't y'all try this? Why don't y'all do a 3-on-3? Do a 3-on-3. Have them guys who's supposed to be on the All-Star team pick two other guys with them. They have a 3-on-3. Start on Thursday. Have the championship on Friday. Have $1 million purse for the winning team. Something like that. That would be very interesting. The hell with the dunk contest. Eliminate that. The hell with the skills competition they got now. And the hell with the 3-point contest. Now, we're going to do 3-on-3 on Wednesday. The weekend's going to start on Thursday. Your first rounds, second rounds, and so on and so forth. Championship games on that Sunday. Hey, let's do something different. You want to switch it all the way up? Do it that way.
You know what's wild now is that our All-Star weekend is taking on more of a cultural thing more than it is the sports. Like All-Star weekend is now where, okay, we're going to go down there. You know, like what was that last year? You had chicks going down to the All-Star game
and couldn't get back home.
Yeah,
couldn't get back home.
It's turned into more of a cultural phenomenon more than it has, we get enjoyment for it from the sports aspect of it. We almost waiting for whatever damn, whatever ratchet it comes out of it than, the actual game itself, man. Thank God it's in Cleveland. Thank God it's in Cleveland this year. We won't have too much BS going on.
And speaking of Cleveland,
so it's gonna be too cold for them hoes.
To the whole Jabari Parker point, I mean, honestly, Jabari, he wasn't fast enough. He wasn't strong enough, and he didn't shoot good enough. Because only like his frame, like to say he's gonna be the next LeBron, he had to be quick enough, and he wasn't that. My comparison to if he wanted to be elite, he would have had to resemble his game at the Melo. You got to be strong in the paint. You got to be strong in the post. You got to make slight, little movements here and there, and then you got to be able to hit the shot. And I don't think he was matched up to the level of that, or I don't think he could find his play because
he was too slow.
He just wouldn't get in shape. He wasn't in shape in high school.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Up and down the court,
because he about 6'10", right?
He's like 6'7", 6'8".
Okay.
I thought the comp for him going into the league would have been Paul Pierce, somebody who didn't have the elite physical tools, but they had the skill level to kind of like carry them through. But it just seems like he never just committed to fully working on his game to elevate himself. Like his genetics.
He did. I feel like he just wasn't good enough. I feel like Jabari Parker, and then he got hurt for a little bit. I mean, I feel like he was in the gym for for quite a bit, and then he got edged out by Middleton and Giannis when they were growing up there too. They were working and competing against each other. All three of them were working and competing against each other, and he just got edged out there. He felt like they didn't care about him no more, and he had to move on to a new place. And he never really found a home for himself. And I think it was more of a self-esteem thing than not putting in the work.
Yeah, look, man. So what happened? Look, when they brought him into Chicago, what was that? 2 years ago, they brought him into Chicago. In the initial press conference, they asked him about, okay, you've been struggling with your defensive side of the game. And he straight up looked everybody dead ass in the Chicago media eye and said, don't nobody play no defense in this league. And I knew right then and there that this was going to be a failure. He was out of Chicago in half the season. They traded him, got rid of him halfway through the season because he just wasn't effective. It's a psychological thing for him. I just think that he was told from a young age, because of the high school he went to and the pipeline he came through, that I thought he can just show up and just be the man. And he never put 2 and 2 together that to be the man, you have to put the work in. And it just, it just never clicked for him, man. I hate to put lazy on him because you never know what's in somebody's heart. But if your job as a professional athlete, your only job is to be in shape. It's your only job, bro. And you can't even stay in shape to do that. He never wanted it, bro. He was liked basketball, but he never truly wanted it.
Well, that's kind of a good segue to somebody who did want it. Joel Embiid. He went from, in my opinion, just another big 7-foot dude that's just, out here trolling Giannis to, nearly being in the MVP conversation. He's been working hard his last couple of seasons. He's taken a few L's just as a one of the elite 7-footers in the league. And now, he's trying to set himself up to be, one of the league MVPs. I mean, if Nikola Jokic can get an MVP, I feel like Joel Embiid has just as much opportunity. So I was never a huge Joel Embiid believer. I feel like when you're 7 foot something, and you keep yourself in shape, you should be able to be productive in the NBA, especially given all of the 3-point shooting. I mean, people don't even know how to defend the post. They don't really know how to even handle that. So if you can be good in the post as a 7-footer, you should be at least an all-star for, nearly your entire career. So I feel like if anything, it's about time Joel Embiid started to get on people's radar as a MVP, especially given that Philly has had so much issue with trying to get Ben Simmons off of their roster and trying to get that whole thing situated. I feel like Joel Embiid has stepped up, as not just a leader, but, one of their best players. So, I think that he's not maybe number one. You still got Steph Curry, who's, even though he's slumping, still having a really solid year. And you still got guys like Kevin Durant, right around the corner, who all he needs to do is get hot at the right time, and he'll, be on everybody's list for MVP. If he's hot after the All-Star break, everybody's gonna be talking about Kevin Durant. So, but at least for right now, Joel Embiid seems like, the guy that everybody's kind of checking out. Are y'all believers, or are y'all like me who, he should be doing this? This should be his game every year.
I think the only thing that's ever holding Embiid back is his availability. That's the only thing that's ever holding him back, man. His availability. He's always hurt. I mean, he has the potential to be an MVP type player, like you said, every year. But his availability is what's killing him. I mean, you remember when he first got it? I remember before he got in the league, he played at Kansas and he stayed hurt. I think he played up playing like a few games at Kansas, but he had a foot injury. As soon as he came to the league, he had knees, foot. I mean, he was always hurt, and that was always holding back. So is he? Am I surprised by how he's playing now? No, I'm not, because the potential was there, but his availability was a thing that was always in question to me. So
I don't believe it was his availability per se. I mean, I think in the moments that he lost, he was there. I mean, it was not like he wasn't there. I think what's holding him back the most has been just the team like dynamic and chemistry. I mean, not to point fingers, I'm going to say Ben Simmons is probably the biggest key factor holding him back. I think if they had, honestly, if they had a player, if they had Bradley Beal on that team instead of Ben Simmons, I think that they probably would have won a lot more. I don't think they would have lost to
Or if they had just kept Jimmy
Kawhi.
Butler, they could have kept Jimmy
Yeah,
Butler
you
and got
kept
rid of him.
Jimmy Butler. Like
Yeah.
you needed a guard or a small forward, somebody who can get you buckets at any time, any moment, clutch times throughout the game. Like you needed a second scorer who can get some pressure out, like on the perimeter, not the paint. You don't need another paint dweller who's just gonna, clog the paint more and force you out to start shooting threes. You know what I mean? He's 7'1". He could be shacking people left and right. Everybody's going small ball now, and or getting these positionless centers where they're not really so strong anymore. They're more trying to shoot and be mobile. This guy could just be moving dudes out the way. But he can't really do that when you got a power forward who can't really shoot and is just trying to dribble to the paint or like dribble dish, into somebody else. You need somebody who can create their own shot or catch and shoot, and a Jimmy Butler or Bradley Beal. And I think Bradley Beal is probably I wouldn't say that's a hard. I think they're equal because Jimmy got the defense, and I think that equates for the lack of offense that Bradley Beal brings in his offense, because his offense is way better than Jimmy Butler's. But I don't think it was his availability, because you're right, he did get hurt at the beginning, but he's been pretty decent, when it comes to times that they need him throughout the season and even in the playoffs. So I think it was Ben Simmons and just the players around him, like the dynamic of the team.
Yeah, it
Right
was
now, too, it's
musical
all big
chairs.
men in the MVP race too. Go ahead, Jay.
Oh no, I was just what Sway was saying. Yeah, Philly was musical chairs, man. They were just moving a lot of players. There was like no core, no reliable core there for them to build on. Jimmy was there for literally what, like a season and a half, and then he left because with Jimmy, if he see you slacking, he's like one of them Kobe type players. You know that Kobe quote is like, "I'm not gonna pass the ball to somebody I don't respect their work ethic." Like Jimmy Butler is one of those type of people. So
But I don't
it,
think it was Joel Embiid that was a problem. I think it was Ben Simmons. I'm
it
telling you, he
was,
saw Ben Simmons
it
and how this
was,
man was moving and working and feeling like you ain't getting no better than what you is, and you haven't shot the ball all season. You know what I mean? I feel like that was getting under his skin, and I don't know. I'm telling you, if they traded him out, like I feel like this is a whole James Harden, Kendrick Perkins situation. Like motherfuckers traded James Harden so they can keep Kendrick Perkins on the team just because he was a bruiser in the paint. Like that was the dumbest LKC move. I like it, like because it was all about money. You know what I mean? And honestly, for that situation, but you got rid of the better player that especially for your system and your team you work around. Like the Philly needs to figure out where they needed to run their team through, and at that point they didn't know. I think they know now because he's kind of acting up in the whole last year playoffs. They kind of understand. All right, Joel Embiid's the guy. We need to build around him. Ben Simmons can't really be a part of this because they don't work together. But then they were trying to figure out. It's kind of like even on the we go back to the day with the Clippers situation with CP3 and Blake Griffin. Nobody knew who was the man there either. Like when you don't know who is that guy, you're gonna get to like the ceiling you're going to get is probably your conference finals. You're not going to get to the finals. You're going to fuck up somewhere because another team knows who their guy is and they know how to move more cohesively in those playoff situations. They're not questioning who's going to take the ball up or who's going to take the last shot, who's going to do this. They know what time it is when that time comes. When you got two guys fighting for the top spot, you're going to get these weird dynamics and chemistry. And Jimmy Butler knew, he was like, neither one of these guys is really that better than me. And if anything, I'm a fall for this Joel Embiid because he puts in the work and he's a big dude. He can actually shoot. He can move dudes out the way, and he's not just taking up space. So,
I kind of want to ask you guys this because we're talking about the MVP and we talking about Embiid. I'm not really checking for Embiid. Like he just doesn't hit my radar. I don't like the dude for some reason. I don't know why. It's just his game. I don't know the way he acts. I just don't have like no likings to him whatsoever. Which
wait, what did you say?
like Embiid,
Oh,
yeah. I'm just saying, just him. It's just maybe the style of play. He just doesn't seem to have that star power. I know he gets busy and his numbers are great, but just off of image wise, I just can't swallow the fact that saying Embiid is an MVP. I guess you can call me a hater. I don't know. I just don't like the dude for whatever. I don't like when he's playing against the Bulls. He was extra. I think it's those like dramatic players that he's doing the damn most. It's like, dude, fuck you.
yeah,
Like fuck you.
he a character.
Yeah. So I kind of
He
put up
does
this.
troll. He does have troll
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
behavior.
So I kind of put up this list of MVPs in the past few years, and it's quite interesting. 'Cause I was just curious to see like did some of these players just have that star power that they just kind of stood out. Like we got the Joker, we got the Greek Freak, couple years, James Harden, we got Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Derrick Rose. So I'm just looking at this list, man. I it seems as though these people had something. I was kind of surprised of the Joker, but I, I think he's pretty popular over there, right? On this team over there, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think around the
Jokic.
NBA, I just
Oh
think
yeah.
people just rock with him, just to rock with him. So I think the influence does have something to do with it. Um, that's just my take on it.
Well, Jokic, I mean, he's an absolute beast when it comes to the production on the Nuggets. So, if nothing else, the offense runs through him. I mean, he's got like the most double doubles, I think, right now. And then he just posted a 5,000 rebound, 3,000 assists. He's like one of the only Nuggets to do that. So, and he an international player. So I imagine he's not really going to make waves like that. So I feel like, they probably do, love that guy. Versus Joel Embiid. I mean, I got to be honest with you, JR. I agree. I didn't like Joel Embiid either. I don't know what it is. He's got like trolly behavior, and he seems to, at least maybe not this year because he's actually backing it up. But traditionally, he's always referred to his own game as being better than it was. Like he tried to beef with Giannis, you know what I mean, as who the better defensive player and better big man was in the East. And you know, him and Ben Simmons back and forth is kind of weird because we don't necessarily know whose side to take on that. They already got rid of Jimmy Butler, and I think that shined poorly on Joel Embiid because he's kind of the leader of the team. I mean, you know, the trust the process. He's like the key point or the key feature of that process. So you know, he always used to rub me, maybe not the wrong way, but he wasn't a guy I rooted for at all. And so that's probably why it's weird to say that, you know what I mean? I used to kind of feel that way about Giannis until I just watched him play more, listen to him in some interviews more. I was like, okay, you know what? I like Giannis. He just seems like a good dude. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing to hate on. Whereas Joel Embiid, you know, he'll get to talking too much at a time where you're supposed to be home.
Yeah, so he be throwing up shit like, how the fuck that shit go in? You know, especially when he playing against the Bulls. It's like this big. You ever go to the gym? It's like this big ass motherfucker, man. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It should be going in. He got the numbers. You know, he's doing his thing. But it's like, man, all that he too big to be doing them fucking dancing moves he be doing. I'm like, man, get your ass up out of here with that bullshit, man.
I was cool with Embiid until he started trolling Westbrook when he was on OKC. Like I didn't like that. I was like, how you gonna troll somebody that's like half your size and then you know you dunk on him and then you think you so cool? Like the dude is literally 6'3" and you 7'1", 280 pounds. And he's just like, I didn't like. That's why I didn't like because I was a Westbrook fan.
He said Westbrook always in his feelings. Westbrook is always in his feelings about stuff, though.
I mean,
can't even foul him hard.
I'm just saying. That's what made me not like Embiid. Everything else I was cool with. You know, him trolling other people or the way he played in the game. I was cool with that. I just didn't like it when he was trolling Westbrook, thinking like it meant something. Like, bro, you're 7'1". This nigga's 6'3" at the most. He looked around 6 foot in game. But I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything against Embiid outside of that.
I think the thing that's always about Embiid that it always bothers me about athletes in general that take me there is when they don't live up to their potential. And for a long time, I saw Embiid. I'm looking at a 7 foot, damn near 300-pound dude who can step out and shoot, who had some semblance of a post game, who just refused to dominate. He just, for whatever reason, it was like, dog, is right there in front of you. There are no more Mutombos in this league. There are no more Mornings in this league. Don't put your big ass down there and block and go dominate. He just, for a long time, just would not do it. And I think we're starting to do it now. But when you marry that with the shenanigans and the trolling, it's like, shut the fuck up and just hoop, dog. You know what I mean? Like it just drove me crazy, but he seems to finally be getting it. Maybe it's a maturity thing that's finally kicking in for him. But I think he wasted his early years just not living up to his potential, man. And it's because I think when you look, okay, so let's look at two people or whatever, right? So you got Embiid and you got Joker. If you were to put them two dudes next to each other and say, okay, who's the all-star, who's that 7th, 8th man off the bench, I think you're saying Embiid is the MVP guy, and then, Joker is just your random 6'7" dude off the bench. But you look, Joker is getting everything out of his frame, everything out of his potential. And Embiid just seems like he was, up until maybe this year, was just not getting everything, and it infuriated me. He ain't even on my team, and I'm like, I like to see when I watch basketball, I want to see guys who have immense potential reach it, and he seemed like he was never going to get there, and that's why I can never warm up to him. And then, of course, the shenanigans with the Bulls. I'm like, look, dude, stop being a clown. You know what I mean? And I think maybe it's my sensibilities growing up watching 90s basketball, and everybody was hella serious, like growing up watching guys like Mourning, watching guys like Patrick Ewing, where, these guys, you say the wrong thing to them, they might take swing on you. They might pull you aside, put you in a headlock or something. You never got that sense with Embiid that he was threatening to people or whatever. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't a menace. And even now, even with the season he's having, you can't really invest in him because you're waiting for that next shoe to drop. What clown shit you gonna do in the playoffs this year? You know what I mean? So I think that's going to affect the the MVP race actually, because at the end, like it or not, we have memories. We have memories, and I think when it comes down to the voting, he may find himself in a position where people like, yeah, you had a good season, but you an asshole. Fuck you. I'm not voting for you.
Man, like somebody else that irritates me is Anthony Davis, 80. I hate his game. He one of them big dudes, and I think if you had 80 and the Greek Freak, and it's like, man, the Greek Freak would get all in that ass. You know what I'm saying? Pause. But I just don't get it, man. It's like like 80 plays lazy. He always fucking hurt. What I think my cousin was going crazy in a group message saying he 80 soft as hell. He hurt again, right? His wrist, right?
Yeah.
What the hell happened? I didn't even see the play. What happened?
He just fell. It was he went up for a layup and fell after it, and he like braced himself and hurt his wrist.
I don't know what they thinking, because I seen all that. I said 80 is always hurt. I don't know why people don't factor in how often people get hurt. 80 was getting hurt before he came to the Lakers, and he's still getting hurt now. He too big. He's like, he don't want to go down low. He be celebrating extra. And I'm like, dude, okay, be consistent. Do that consistently. Otherwise, you out there on the 3-point line trying to cross over. I get it that you work out, but you lazy, man. I don't see that toughness with him, man. I don't think he's a leader at all. I think he whines too much. You see him on there with that look on his face all the time. He come out, he had a good game, you back out again. I'm surprised LeBron James, they rooted for him to get traded, man.
What's his frame,
Hey.
man? He's too linky to not be strong, because like at this point he's not getting, when they pay people say he's soft, he's not really soft. He's just choosing to be that because he's scared to get hurt. Like he doesn't have enough muscle on his body to where he is comfortable enough to be moving people out the way. And so at this point, he's trying to be more maneuvering and crossing and shooting and all this. He's not going to back someone down in the paint. And even if he does, I haven't seen him mush anyone out the way. He literally just backs him down in the same spot and then does a turnaround fadeaway. He doesn't actually push them or move them anywhere. Like he needs to gain some weight. You know what I mean? Do the opposite of what Joker did. Just eat a lot. Eat, gain an extra 30, 40 pounds, and then see where you at. And he needs to figure out how to stop falling on the ground, bro. Like your center of gravity, you got to be able to come down on your feet, move people out your way. You need to have your aura around you where people are trying to move themselves out your way. I'm not trying to tell every big man to resemble a game after Shaq, but I think Shaq did it the best, where he got big, he was already big, and he utilized his weight. And he understood that I'm going to be the problem to other people when it comes to this paint shit. There's only so much beating someone can take. Like Marshawn Lynch said, what you going to do? Just hit him and 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 hit him. At some point, a motherfucker don't want to get hit no more. So that's what I'm saying. Like they don't want to go through that process. And this is Anthony Davis' problem is he's scared to go through that to where he can get comfortable in the paint, and now people can actually think of him as a threat. Because at this point, I think people across the league sees him as soft. It ain't just us. The people who he playing against definitely thinks he's soft, because the only games he really showed out is when he went against Jay Crowder. And that guy like 6 inches shorter than him. But when he went against Milwaukee, he folded up real fast against Giannis and Lopez and any other big man down there. Like he's not that guy anymore. I think he's just been through too many injuries where psychologically he's just scared to get hurt.
He's never been that guy though.
No.
That's
he was
the
dropping
thing.
buckets over in the Pelicans.
Well, here's what I mean by he's never been that guy is you have to remember Anthony Davis was a 6'1" point guard at the beginning of his high school senior year. When you go through a late growth spurt, he never had big man tendencies. He never had big man instincts. You know what I mean?
Did you watch him growing up?
Yeah.
You watched him when he was on Kentucky?
I know what you're saying.
So
like as far as
stats
like,
don't back up what you're saying though.
No, but I'm talking about the mentality of it. You know what I mean? Like you were saying earlier about he's scared to fall, he's scared to bang, he's scared to have that physical
at this
contact.
point.
Right. But what I'm saying is that you have to understand so a couple of things about Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis did not play at a traditional high school powerhouse in Chicago. His level of competition was not that high. So he never developed like that. Like when you play high school basketball here, you 3 times a week, you got to play against a dude that might swing on you, push you into the stands, bully you around. You know what I mean? He never played that. He didn't even play AAU here. You know what I'm saying? So I think when he got to Kentucky, he was around other guys who were physical phenoms or whatever, and he started to realize his potential, but he never got the dog inside of him, man. He never got that. And when you like those instincts have to be instilled in you at 12,
Did you
13,
not
14
watch
years.
this guy, Adrian?
I watched him, but what I'm
Bro,
saying,
this guy is the number
it's
one pick.
college, bro.
He
It's
went
college.
dumb in college with his blocks. Then he went to the right after that. He went
Blocks
to the
have
Dream.
nothing to
He
do
played on the
about
Dream team.
Okay.
Then he went straight into the NBA, and this man was dropping buckets, blocks, everything.
I
He
hear
was the
you.
number one big man in the league for a while. Do we
But
not forget this?
blocks do not. Blocks says I can jump really high, and I have a long wingspan.
But
To
he had
be
a lot of
able-
points too, and a
Okay,
lot of rebounds.
But I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. It's another thing to be able to say when I post and I'm going to drop step, I'm going to absorb contact and not cry about it if somebody goes upside my head and just push through that shit. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in the post and someone is trying to drop down on me and back me down, I'm not gonna let them bully me. You know what I mean? That's something you got to learn early, man. And sometimes I just think remember when he first got on the Lakers and he cried about how he didn't want to play the 5? Like, fam, what is you talking about? What, you don't want to play the 5? You're the tallest dude on the team. You would kill and pick and roll in that situation, but you talking about, no, I'm a 4. Hell, I want to play a little bit of 3. He don't want to be a big man. He don't want to be that dude in the paint because he doesn't psychologically identify with the mentality of it. He's comfortable on the wing. He's comfortable in like that short pick and pop game. He's not comfortable being down there being a dog because he ain't never been that dude.
And that's why I said, man, I said if there's anybody on the Lakers that they need to put in that post and they will get production out of him, is Melo. Melo is a dog in that post. Melo will go up, get knocked in the head 3 times, eyebrow falling off. He's going right back up for the contact. He's anticipating the contact. AD, the minute his jump shot got better, he didn't want no parts of that post, man. When his skill set is ridiculous. He should be in that post, but like I agree, Avon, he don't have that mentality, man. He not
Hey,
looking
the
to
problem,
be.
Y'all, man,
the
it's
problem is with
that's where
the
he lost the mentality. He had the mentality. He
no, the
had it.
problem.
I seen it.
Hey,
My
the
own
problem is
eyes.
with AD, man. Hey, the problem with AD, man, he has a bad work ethic. He's lazy. He's really lazy. Yeah, he's lazy, man. He doesn't. His training regimen is lazy, man. He has a lazy man training work ethic. He doesn't want to get stronger like y'all suggest he does. And they've been telling him for years. I remember him in Kentucky. He was forced to work out. He was forced to do what he needed to do in order to go to the league. Coach Dow said, "Hey, if you want to go to the league, you have to get stronger. You have to work, or else you're not going to make it in the league." And that's what he did. So he did that when he was in Kentucky. Well, now he's in the league. He's getting paid. Nobody who's going to push him. Who's forcing him? He's just playing on pure talent. If this man worked as hard as he should and could have, he'll be way further along than he is. But no, he's not. And so he's just doing just enough to get by. And that's why you see him constantly getting banged up, hurt, not playing in games, sitting out games, because his work ethic is terrible. But I'm not saying he's not a good player. He's a hell of a player. But he got bad work ethic. So until they get better, he's going to continue to do what he needs to do. He's right there. His teammates, one of the hardest working guys we know in LeBron. You need to start training with this man and picking up some good work ethic. This man's probably going to play them, but he's about 40. Learn from that man.
Yeah, man, that diet, man. They said he got a terrible diet too. They was doing some research. Yeah.
I'm sure Anthony Davis stayed with a bag of Harold's just nearby. But I mean, to go back to your point, Sway, about how he played in high school and college, I don't disagree with your overall point that
I
he
never
was
said
that
high
dude.
school.
or even just we can keep it to college.
I
I
would
mean,
say college in the first like 5-6 years when he was on the Pelicans. This man was that guy. I'm so confused.
I'm not, and you're not wrong about that. I think what everybody's talking about is first of all his availability. Is he reliable to be able to count the talent? What the talent that we know he has had in the past to overcome his injury history. So that's one facet. Plus, when it comes to his style of play, I would feel like he's trying to be more like a Dirk Nowitzki, where he wants to be able to shoot jumpers, shoot threes. His lifetime, he was a guard. Like he was always a guy who was looking to shoot the balls from 20 feet out, shoot threes. And then over the course of like 2 years, he grew like 8 inches. So at one point, he was so skinny. This is between after he graduated high school and going into his first year at Kentucky. He was so skinny. So they definitely made him eat. They made him work out. And he was a one and done. So he really didn't grow at Kentucky. We really didn't see a big growth in his game. He's really going off of athleticism, the fact that he's young, the fact that he's hungry. This is back when Kentucky was a really hot school in terms of their recruiting. So they had a great team around him. I think every one of his teammates, I'm pretty sure, are all got opportunities in the NBA. So it wasn't like he, was just absolutely dominant, even though he was freshman of the year and whatnot. But we can't necessarily take their college accomplishments and just assume they're going to translate to the NBA. I mean, we're looking at Zion right now, one of the most highly touted college players maybe of all time, and he get to the NBA, and we ain't seen that man since Charles Barkley said he was a child of him and Shaq. So, it's not necessarily a great method to say, well, he did this in college. He should be able to take some of that into the NBA game long term. A lot of times, a guy who had a certain game in college, they got to change their game up and come up with something else once they get to the NBA game. Carmelo was a perimeter player. Now we're talking about how much of a beast he is in the post, kind of. Giannis was a paint player, just pretty much dominating everybody with size and jumping ability. And now he's out there shooting threes. So, Embiid, we just got to talk about Joel Embiid. He's out there shooting threes. So, you do have to elevate your game according to your body, what your body's telling you, according to what the game is. And Anthony Davis hasn't really done that. He's still trying to be a jump shooter when really he should be, using the post to his advantage, or, using the post to be able to, do step back shots. That way they're a lot closer. Something other than trying to be
Kyle,
Dirk.
the problem with what you said is that a couple of things, some of them contradicted themselves. But the problem with what you said is that you said that you can't necessarily look at a guy's college game and correlate that the NBA career, NBA path. I mean, I agree with you to some extent. I mean, that's right. You said Zion. I think
Yeah,
Zion's
especially a
kind
one
of
and
a
done.
Zion's a kind of a bad one because the only thing that held him back was injuries and his weight. You know what I mean? It's not like his stats or his production was off when he was in the game and he was playing. He was probably the most efficient player in the league. You know what I mean? So, but Anthony Davis, when I talk about Anthony Davis, and we're talking about like when I hit the Kentucky thing, I didn't just bring up him playing in Kentucky. I brought up the actual stats. Like this guy set records. Like this guy had like 500 blocks. Like this guy was dropping. Like I think it was one season. I think he had like 100 and something blocks in a season, and he like out blocked like multiple teams like in that tournament. I think he had like 120 some blocks, and like other teams had like 98, 85 through their whole team. Like this guy was different in college. And when we're talking about it translating into the NBA, it did translate to the NBA. He played good. He had the stats. He was that guy. That's what I'm saying. If you actually look at it, he started shooting more, and that can lead to him being a little bit soft. And then he also got injured prone, and that led to even more trying to be like a guard. And it's like, I'm not trying to make excuses for Anthony Davis because I still think he got it in him, but I think it's a mentality at this point. Like it's the injuries. It's not to say that his game wouldn't translate or that he can't do it. It's just the mentality of if he's trying to go down there now and try to get grit and grind and move dudes out the way, throw some bows instead of just backing up and think you're going to do a spin around fade. You know what I mean? Like I don't see a lot of guys out there trying to throw bows anymore and move guys out the paint. And he doesn't have that mentality because at some point, if you start doing that, I think he knows that they're going to start hard fouling him. and he's not trying to get hard fouled because that's just going to lead to more injuries. And so he gets this little mentality where I'm just going to play a stretch four because it's accepted now. That's kind of the wave. Y'all want to stretch four, right? I'm gonna play a stretch four. Put me a stretch. I can be the best stretch four in the league. I'll dribble, and shoot a three, or whatever. I don't have to go into the paint anymore. That's why he's so like advent against being a center, because he knows he's automatically going to have to be in the paint. He's like,
Right.
I know
I'm sure
stretch
he wants
fours
to
is a
pick and
thing.
pop, do them screens and them high top of the key screens, and then
But when you said the game doesn't correlate, and you said players change, like you brought up Giannis and how he was big and now he's shooting. Anthony Davis was big body and now he's shooting. He's changing his game. He wasn't shooting threes and shooting jump shots from the jump. He wasn't doing all this outside of college. Like, he was in the paint. I watched look at Porzingis. He was in the paint. He was doing all types of stuff in the paint until he got hurt, and now he acting like a wimp. Like, the injuries do something to you mentally when you get more than one of them, because then you have to recuperate from them. And then, like, the challenge, like, it's not even necessarily the injury, it's what takes after to come back from that injury. You know what I mean? That's where the mental game starts. And once you have like 3, 4, 5 of them, you're not trying to keep going through those. So you're going to take precautions where you might not, a business decisions. You know what I mean? If I don't have to go into the paint anymore, I'm not going to. I would rather shoot the ball and be effective elsewhere. And that's where he's trying to do. It's not necessarily he can't. He's just very scared of the mentality that comes with being that aggressive, mama mentality. You look at Kobe, Iverson, them guys was chock full of injuries, and they just didn't give a fuck. They would Kobe snap his finger back in place, AI shoulders, all type. You know what I mean? Those guys didn't care. They just wanted to win and get buckets at any possible way. Anthony Davis isn't like that. He's not trying to keep going through those injuries.
Yeah,
So
but you have
it's a
you have
double-edged sword.
but you have to develop a jump shot, man. He had to. He was doing that before he got to college. Coach Cal had him working on his turnaround jump shot at Kentucky. So he had to. You don't want him to just being a man in the paint all the time. Of course, you have to come outside the paint a little bit to bring the big man up out of the middle. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you didn't want him to be like a Stromile Swift. Only thing he could do is just dunk. That ain't what he wanted to be. So he had to work on that. But that has nothing to do with his like you said, bad eating habits, his training, his taking care of himself. That's something totally different. Even with injuries. I mean, a lot of guys got hurt but still took care of themselves and did what they had to do to get back in the game. I mean, it seemed like, man, he's just, I don't know, man. Like I said, I just think it's a mental thing with it, just
I
being
think it's
soft
also the
mentally.
money too. I
Physically, I
think
don't think he
the money
can.
got to his head.
I mean, and that could be the case, but man, you got to take care of yourself. And the older you get, the more important it is.
Yeah.
So will Anthony Davis ever get back to that point? A couple seasons ago, I would have been swearing up and down that the Bulls are going to hold out to try to get them a big man to Anthony Davis. And now it's not looking like he has a ton of value compared to what he might be asking for in compensation. So, the Bulls are going to still be in need of a big man. Is Anthony Davis no longer that guy? Is he not on anyone's radar anymore in any capacity?
No, I'm good on that one, bro. I'm good on that. We already got an oversized dude that don't like contact and want to stand out on 3-point line the whole time and booch, man. That's another one that infuriates me. You're 6'11", damn near 270, 280, and you just can't get in there and give us something on the interior. Like, I saw one, like, I think it was a couple of games ago. He had somebody on the block, and his move was to pivot towards the middle and try to do like this damn near finger roll layup. I'm like, damn, drop step, get some contact, and go straight up. What's wrong with you, man? So now I'm good on that. I'm good. Matter of fact, I need this whole concept of Vooch being untouchable. That shit need to go out the door. Like, if we can find a rim runner and a rim protector and move Vooch out for one of those, I can live with that. I can live with that, bro, because that dude, man, he's killing me right now.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be willing to pay that price tag that he's probably gonna be asking for. And I think he's gonna get a reality check in the next few years because nobody's coming up off of that bag for Anthony Davis, man. Especially these last 2 years, man, with the injuries back to back to back. Like, nobody's paying for that.
Man, so you think that's including the Lakers? Are they gonna re him up, or because what's his future? You know what I mean? Is he gonna be like Dwight Howard and just be some random, like, we look up and we look around and Anthony Davis ain't nowhere around, and then we see he's on the Indiana Pacers bench? Like, is he gonna be that guy, or is it just a matter of him changing the image of him being injury prone? I mean, he's still young. He's still a big body in a league that needs big bodies. This league is kind of top heavy on forwards and guard and 3-point shooting guards, but not a lot of 6'11", 7-foot guys who can, be athletic. So, what's his future exactly? I mean, if we're saying that he doesn't like contact and he injury prone, so he doesn't like contact as a big man, and he's a lower body injury prone wannabe shooter. So where does that leave him?
That leaves him a few steps above DeMarcus Cousins, man, if he doesn't make a change. If you would have told me that DeMarcus Cousins would have became what he became, I would have not believed you, yo. You couldn't have told me that he wasn't going to be top 5 center in the league, top 3 center in the league. He should be in these conversations, but the injuries, along with the work ethic, you'll fall right off. You'll fall right out of contention.
Yeah, as far as us getting Anthony Davis at the Bulls, and maybe about 4 years ago when he was with the Pelicans, I would have took a flyer on him then. But 2022 AD, no, I'm good, man. I'm good with it. So
Yeah, the Bulls got enough. I don't. Here's the thing: they're my team, so I don't like to go too hard on them, man. But the Bulls are already soft as it is, bro. That's one of the, like, we don't. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge it because we homers or whatever. The Bulls fucking soft, bro. They take out one of your. They let Grayson Allen take out one of your players. Ain't nobody stepped to Buddy. Nobody. Ain't nobody even like tell him in his face, bro. Not cool. You know what I mean? And that's gonna catch up to the Bulls down the road, the playoffs, man. Everybody saw that when they took down one of your players, nobody was willing to step up, man. That is the Bulls' Achilles' heels more than anything right now. Is that lack of big man, is that lack of balls right now, bro. You got a couple of high flying scorers or whatever, man. But when it comes down to it, that toughness isn't there, man. So no, we don't need another one of them dudes whose toughness is questionable. I know I'm good on that one. They need more goons, not more shooters.
Yeah, I don't want to see no parts of Anthony Davis. I'm good. I got that out, man.
It's a shame too because he actually fits what they need right now. Is an actual stretch four and some rim protection, but it's like he ain't reliable, bro. You gonna be like we already, Zach out, DeMar be out here and there. You got the bench dudes, Zoe gone 6 to 8, Caruso gone 6 to 8, Javonte's hurt every other week. Like the last thing we need is some dude who's gonna be in and out the lineup every other damn week because his hangnail is bothering him. Straight, man.
Yeah, hey, I know we're about to ready to come to a close on this, but real quick about the Bulls, since that's our home team for the most part, at least for some of us. But I see some of us are not Bulls fans, but that's okay too. Ayo, he seems like he in that starting position. Does he stay in the starting position when everybody else come back?
Yeah. No, well, I think he'll go back to the bench, but his role on the bench will go from 6. You see, going into the season, we was hoping he's going to be the 8th or 9th guy, somebody you can bring in for a hot 5 to 10 minutes to contribute. Now that's your 6th man. Now he's made Kobe White expendable now, bro. Like, especially when Kobe White shooting 1 for 25 from 3-point last 3-4 games or whatever, he's made Kobe expendable. Trades that you didn't think you could make a month or two ago, you can now make because of IO. And now in the future, that's going to be an interesting thing now.
Who's the starting 5 though?
So
Vooch?
Right now, you got, if everybody was healthy, you'd have Zoe, Zach, Debo, Patrick Williams, and Vooch. You know what I mean? But everybody isn't healthy. But it's So
how tall is Ayo?
Ayo's like 6'3.5".
He's 6'3"? I thought he was taller than that.
No,
6'4".
He's about 6'3", somewhere
Okay,
between
yeah,
6'3" and 6'4", man. You see him
Yeah,
next to
so you
Kobe
couldn't put
White.
him
He's
in. I
a
don't know why I
shade.
asked that question. I thought he was
Yeah.
taller than what he was, so you couldn't even put him in there with Zach.
He got super long arms, though. That's what really makes him irritating as a defender. He's 6'3", but he got like a 6'8" wingspan, man. It's crazy.
Hey, man, I told you already, I'm done with Kobe White. I'm done with his
I,
ass. Get him up out of here. I
I
don't know.
I don't know,
I don't know
man.
why
You
we
know, like I
drafted him,
think,
man.
man, like I think if you have Kobe at the guard, at the point guard, and Ayo, I mean they can flip flop. You know, Ayo is shooting guard. This is coming off the bench, like it's the second unit, or either whether you want to filter him in to get somebody a break. I think they solid. Caruso, Kobe, Ayo. I think them like the top three. That should be that. I mean, everybody else should be expendable at that point. I mean, you got Green now starting in Green. You know, you got two brothers that play defense. Kobe plays with defense too. You know, and I think that Ayo is making Kobe like a better player as far as him understanding, you know, how the minutes are. But I think that'd be a solid coming off the bench as far as leaders. Like you can put them in with the starters and you can also have them in on the bench. So I think you have to keep Kobe, man, because if you take Kobe off there, then who's going to be that person that's going to be really like running the show? I mean, just really think about it. Who else is going to be running that show? Green ain't going to run it how Kobe going to run it. So I think Kobe has to stay. I just hope they don't do nothing stupid like he goes out and then brings somebody else in, and it's like it's not making the team better, or they get rid of like Ayo and Kobe because they're trying to bring in Anthony Davis. It's like, nah, bro. And then Anthony Davis get hurt and he's sitting, and now we just gonna have no bench. So that's typically the moves that the Bulls and the Bears. It's like I don't know about hockey or baseball, but when it comes
I think it depends on the context of how management views where they are right now. Going into the season, the expectations were seven seed, 8 seed, 6 seed, playing game or playing tournament, see what happens after that. But now that context has changed. You're maybe a year ahead of schedule. And if you have a chance to get your hands on a all-star level 4, where you have Zach and Debo playing, you know, at a really high level, and you can make a run towards a conference championship and maybe even the finals, you got to do it. But if the brain trust says we're a year ahead of the schedule, let's let it see how it plays out in the playoffs and then make our moves in the summer, I think that's going to be the determination of what the moves they're going to make. And here's the thing. Who you going to – everybody keeps bringing up, you know, what's the guy in Detroit, Grant? How does he help you? He's just another wing. You don't need
Jeremy
another
Grant.
wing. Yeah. So
defensively, he got a little bit of offense.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying, okay, so I guess what I'm saying is that I don't want them to mortgage the future for a kind of move. If you're going to make that trade, it needs to be for someone that's going to be there for the next 3-4 years and you can rely on. You know what I mean? Like,
you know, we need somebody like Portis, man. Should have.
Oh God, I love to have Bobby Portis back. They ain't gonna let him go.
Yeah, I know they ain't gonna let him go. You know, but you need somebody like that, man. I mean, he's a big guy. He come in on that forward position, like he know what it is. He understand the assignment, and go out there and play. He ain't gotta have the ball. He gonna rebound. He can shoot the three.
I saw a trade the other day that really intrigued me, but I don't know how realistic it is. Apparently, the big man down in Phoenix? They don't want to pay him. Ayton. God, he would look nice in a Bulls uniform. If you want to send Vooch and Patrick Williams down there for Ayton,
deal.
Man, bro, like get it done. But if Phoenix, like I said, Phoenix don't want to get his man his money. Phoenix don't want to give his man
Miles
his
Turner?
money. That would work too. But here's the thing: if any trade that you have to bring in, Miles Turner's a 5. You know what I'm saying? He can play the 4, but in their system, he'd have to play the 5. You know, they don't. With Billy Donovan's system, your 4 has to be able to step out, guard on the perimeter, and shoot from the perimeter or whatever. So you putting Vooch and Turner in the lineup at the same time doesn't kind of work from a flow perspective. I would like to see maybe an experiment with it or whatever. But if you get Turner, Vooch got to go. You know what I mean?
Are you trying to get a 4? I thought you were trading Vooch.
Well, that's my thing. It's like, here's the thing. Vooch and Turner on the floor at the same time creates a log jam in the middle. Like one of them is going to have to play on the perimeter. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to have Miles Turner, but I need Vooch to go back the other way.
Well, Vooch would be. I thought he's already doing that. Vooch would be the 4.
Well, here's the thing. Vooch can. What we got here? Jesus Christ, bro.
He got the money, man.
Yeah. But here's
the hell with this.
Vooch, when we think about Vooch,
dog.
Yeah. Vooch from an offensive standpoint can play the stretch four, but defensively, he cannot play. Defensively, he can barely play the 5, let alone the 4. You know what I mean? So he offers no rim protection, bro. Like little 6'2" to 6'3" Javonte Murray came at him on the other with no fear. No fear the other night, was just in there every damn drive to the
Because he's not gonna jump. He's gonna be there.
And then he don't have to. I don't know why this isn't being taught. I don't know. Maybe y'all can speak to this. Nobody is teaching big men how to wall up anymore, bro. You ain't got to jump with these little motherfuckers, man. Just step over, wall up, put your hands up, bro. That's all you got to do. You're 6'11".
But you know what? Hey, but that starts at the high school level. I was at Suns game the other day. The biggest man his opponent had was 6'4", and our 3 big guys are 6'8", and they feel like they have to jump just because they're ready to block a shot. We just wall up. When you wall up, you make yourself about 7 foot. Why jump? But they on that bullshit though.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We're gonna it's almost football time, so I want to make sure you guys prepare for that. It's been a great show, man.
Definitely, this was fun. This was a good one, man.
Hey, man, shout out to the Birds, man. Me and I even talked about it on Facebook, man. And I like what we got as a new head coach. So I just want to put that out there, man. Shout out to the Birds and
I think Jay was talking ish about that earlier though. He was like something about that being a bad move. I was like, that seems like a decent move. Defensive head coach typically win. You know what I mean? Especially if you're talking about Super Bowls.
Look here, they've been successful for us. For the Birds, a defensive coach has been successful for us with Lovie Smith taking us to the Super Bowl. I mean, Dicker was a special teams guys, but I don't know if you want to put that under the umbrella of defense. But yeah, that's been the most successful for us. The biggest jokes has been the offensive coordinators. I mean, even Dave Wanstead. Even Dave Wanstead was a decent had some decent seasons for us, more so than not. So I mean, I don't know.
That is the problem right there, Hank.
What's that?
Every time they show the Bears on national TV, you remember they show you the graphic when they play the Packers of how many quarterbacks the Bears have put on this under center since Aaron Rodgers. I think they did. It's like from the time Brett Favre took his first snap with the Packers till Aaron Rodgers last year. I think the Bears have put like 42 damn quarterbacks under center. That's crazy as hell, number one. But number two, the thing that they don't ever tell you is how many damn offensive coordinators we've been through. Like, I don't think we've had an offensive coordinator in Chicago longer than 2 years since like the 80s or some crazy shit like that. So like I think the way people reacted in Chicago this week when they hired, but it wasn't so much we don't like this guy, but what the hell are we going to do about this quarterback situation and who's going to be the offensive coordinator? Because we've been here before. We've been here with the Lovie Smith Bears that go upside your head defensively, but goddamn is Rex Close across the damn way, fucking it up.
That was my attitude.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, so we've been down this road before, but I think you got to temper that expectation or, that mindset, because the very thing we're bitching about in Chicago, we need an offensive guru. You just fired the offensive guru. You brought in the young GM and the young offensive guru, and they were dog shit for 4 years. You know what I mean? So I think we have to start as when we think about head coaches in Chicago is, do they make the right decisions as far as in game? Are we going to kick? Are we going to punt? Are we going to go for it on fourth down? And who are they going to hire to support your talent as far as on the offensive side of the ball? Justin Field has elite talent, but who's going to develop it? You know what I mean? Now, the guy they hired from the Packers, that's a good move. I think that's a good move, man. Like, you're weakening your divisional opponent, and you're bringing in somebody who's clearly worked with a good quarterback for the past couple of years. So I'm gonna have to take some optimism. But you got, like, from an outsider's perspective, you got to give us some grace as Bears fans. We traumatized. We don't know no better.
Well, what you said, but
Exactly.
I also am looking. Hopefully, that offense, our new offense coordinator, can get out there and get Devontae Adams. He's going to be a free agent, guys. He's
I
going
have
to
a
need a place to play football. Yeah, I know he's asking for like 30 million a year. He asking for quarterback money, but nobody gonna give him that. But hey, I'm willing to give him about maybe 22.
I have a probably a biased opinion probably when it came to it anyways, because I typically just ask myself, like, why don't most teams just run the ship like New England? Like, why don't you just get a defensive head coach that tries to run the ship and keep the defense on their P's and Q's, and then just get an offensive coordinator that knows what he's doing and let him focus strictly on offense and trusting your offensive coordinator to do his job. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure Belichick calls plays here and there, or, checks McDaniels and, does what he got to do, but he strictly is known as the defensive coordinator. You get a good quarterback that also knows how to do reads and stuff like that, and you leave more of the offensive side to two other guys that are experts in that, in the quarterback and the coordinator. You don't need to do that as the head coach. They literally have a whole job for that. Leave that to them. So I don't understand why most teams go after an offensive minded head coach and then leave the defense up to the other team, when, if anything, it's easier to score offensively now. So you probably want a more defensive solid guy when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Like, the offense now is pretty far fetched. You want a guy who's more focused on defense, of how to get the least amount of points out of the other team and leave the offense to let it be what it is, because it's a lot easier now. And I don't know. That's just kind of my thought process. So like I said, I think that was a good move by the Bears to get a defensive head coach. I think y'all just need to focus on getting an offensive guru in the coordinator's position. Focus on developing your quarterback to make the smart reads and get a consistent arm, and then just build your team from there, and y'all straight.
I'm always worried about getting a coach from a team that had an amazing quarterback or an amazing, talented, whatever side of the ball they're on. So, like, a passing coordinator who is just working with Aaron Rodgers, like, I don't know if that tells me if he's going to be good at developing Justin Fields. It'd be different if it was the passing coordinator for Josh Allen. He was there when Josh Allen got drafted, and now he's just now, okay, because now there's some proof. They brought on a rookie. He turned out to be really good. And so there's some proof there. Not to say that I think his name is Getsby. Not to say that he won't be a good offensive coordinator, but there's just no proof that he's really developed a quarterback in the way that we Bears fans are hoping that they'll develop.
Yeah,
Justin
because
Fields.
Jordan
Justin
Love
Fields
looked like
tough.
dog shit when he got his opportunities.
Yeah. So, it's just, and not to say that I'm not excited, because I am. And I think that, to the point of hiring a defensive minded coach to be the head coach, I don't disagree with you on that, Sway. But to go off Avon's point, we have been down this road before. I still have it fresh in my memory of the Peanut Tillman, Brian Urlacher Bears. They were like the best defensive team in the league. They had like 10 interceptions for touchdowns or something like that. Charles Tillman made like a record for pick sixes that year, and they still ended up losing because they couldn't score. So it was really a reaction, like a collective fan reaction of, oh, we need an offensive guru. We need to be able to score
Okay.
40 points a
Well,
game.
look at the Broncos and look at the Eagles, how they won their past two Super Bowls. It won't their offense. Their defense ran the whole game. If they didn't have the defense, the offense couldn't have done what they did. Like, I'm pretty sure in both those games, the defense scored a touchdown. So it's like, you can get there. You can try to get there do the offense like Mahomes, but it's going to be super hard, because you're going to have to drop 40 to 50 points a game just so you can solidify the dub. But if you not, you better go the Belichick way, where you win them by a field goal, and the
I think
score
with
is
the
only
Bears too,
13-10, or it doesn't go higher than 30.
and I do think with the Bears specifically, and as Bears fans, I feel like we might feel like we're especially scarred, because I want to say the Bears done lost more games within a touchdown or within a field goal than like any other team. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know the exact stat, but I just know that the Bears always seem to, just like last year, they were winning some of those games, or maybe it was 2 years ago now, they were winning some of those games, and now they're losing those games. And a lot of those games are low scoring, 18 to 14, or, within 3 touchdowns in terms of, total touchdowns scored that game. So I think it's just a reaction. I don't think that it's necessarily the best thing to do as a higher offensive-minded head coach, but I think it's just always a reaction where that team probably had a really good defense, but they struggled scoring points. So then there was this big outcry to get a offensive-minded guy in there. And then when they fire the coach, it's usually some coach that's been there a long time, like Lovie Smith, been there a long time. Defense has usually been reliable, low-key dominant, but they're not able to score points. And eventually there's just this outcry to start scoring points, especially when you look at other teams like the Saints or the Bucks, where they have these high octane offenses. Everybody wants to see these big touchdown passes be thrown and not necessarily, a great sack. So I think that's just a reaction that management has. They said, well, the fans demanded. Plus we saw that if the fans are loud enough, they can get some stuff changed within the team. The fans were loud enough to make the McCaskies suggest to Matt Nagy to start Justin Fields in the first place. And Matt Nagy made it clear that wasn't necessarily his decision. So we know that they make decisions based on emotion and not necessarily logic. So I think it's just a reaction. When a really good defensive team can't score points, well, obviously the solution must be to go hire an offensive-minded coach. And a lot of times that don't really work out that way. And I don't necessarily know what we can attribute that to, but with the Bears specifically, it's just like we've never gotten that part of the ball right. So we're just thirsty to see, our team score 35 points a game. Whether we win or not, we just want to see it happen at some point.
I agree with you. I know we're going to wrap up the show, but like I said, I just think of all the teams that won Super Bowls and they were legitimate. You think of the Ravens, you think of the Seahawks when they had the Legion of Boom. Shoot, you brought up the Tampa Bay Bucks. You look at that game when they won it, it was their defense running. So I'm just saying, you got to have that defense on lock. As much as y'all want to hate on it and be like, no, like y'all, even when y'all back like a couple years ago, the Khalil Mack era and a little bit before that, y'all were winning games primarily based off of y'all defense. Y'all offense was never really shit. Y'all had Brandon Marshall here and there, and what's his name? Jake Cutler, but y'all offense was never really like that. It was when y'all was winning, it was mainly based off of y'all defense. So I'm just saying, like, the teams that win, they have a average or above average, solid quarterback, and their defense is strong. Like, their defense is the main factors in the game. Especially you talking about Super Bowl. You got Russell Wilson, you got Peyton Manning, you got what's the guy on the Eagles that
Jalen Hurts or
no, the one the Super Bowl with them.
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. Like, you got basically even the Ravens. Joe Flacco. You just need somebody solid. That you don't need him to be the GOAT. You don't need him to be Aaron Rodgers. You need somebody to just make a couple plays here and there and be solid. Score when you need it. When the opportunity comes to score. Don't fuck up the bag. That's essentially all you need. You know what I mean? You don't have to be Mahomes and make extra plays and try to carry the back as the quarterback. You just need to make the plays that you need to make and have your defense be probably the solid as defense in their life in that game. And that's what you typically need to win a Super Bowl.
You're right about that. We watched Pittsburgh Steelers win 2 Super Bowls. Roethlisberger win 2 Super Bowls with good defense. One with Bill Cowher and one with Mike Thomas. So you're right about that. You do need a good defense to win the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I like the hire as far as the head coach. So far, what I'm hearing as far as the offensive coordinator, I'm impressed. I like to see who's going to be the QB coach. Just going to really help Fields along a little more than
yes, sir.
So that's going to be interesting, as well as the defensive coordinator. Who's going to be the defensive coordinator? Now, what I'm hearing is they looking at one of the coaches that he coached with at Indianapolis is going to be his defensive coordinator. So we'll see. It's definitely going to be interesting, but we'll see.
They're not bringing Sean Desai back. They're not bringing old boy back.
Well, they're going to the Tampa. They're going to the Tampa too. They're going back to the Tampa too. So they're getting rid of the 3-4. They're putting Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack hand back on the ground, bro. They're going to be ends instead of outside linebackers, man. And
I'm good with that. We had our most success in the Tampa 2 defense, so let's see what happens, man.
They need to go ahead and get rid of Khalil Mack, though. I don't know about that.
Well, I told you I'm ready to trade him back.
Mm-hmm.
Raiders, if you're still interested. I don't know that Josh McDaniel. They hired Josh McDaniel as a head coach now. And I don't know if he's actually gonna sign. He might bail on him like he did with the coach last time, but we'll see. That's who they supposedly hired as their football coach. So, hey, give Josh McDaniel a call and say, hey, man, Khalil Mack, we willing to trade him back for a first round pick, a first and a third. Let's see what happens. I'm all for it.
Man, and with that Josh McDaniels pick, now I'm curious to see how the Patriots do next year with their offense. We get to kind of see, if Bill Belichick really got the sauce like that to, is it him or is it, you know what I mean? Is it Josh McDaniels? I feel like the reason why Josh McDaniels left is because he saw it ain't really what it was like in New England. So let me go on back over there where I know what it is. I'm not necessarily the guy in charge. So, and then for Bill Belichick, he's been relying on Josh McDaniels now. I don't even know how many years. It feels like 10 almost. If you exclude the year that he was gone, I mean, Josh McDaniels has been an offensive coordinator in New England for, it feels like a long time. So there's a certain amount of blind trust that I'm sure Bill has put into Josh that now he's going to have to develop with somebody else. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays itself out too.
Shoot, you think Josh want to coach and train another young quarterback again, or be a part of that whole building process? He don't want to be a part of that. He's like, I'm an established coordinator. I just want to go where a quarterback know what he's talking about. We can kind of work together in a more cohesive way, like he had with Tom. He's not trying to train another young buck into being Tom Brady.
If I'm Aaron Rodgers, I might be giving a second look at Las Vegas now. Or if I'm Deshaun Watson, I might give Las Vegas a look. I don't know if Derek Carr is out or if they're trying to trade him or what's going on. I feel like Derek Carr is kind of a fixture in their organization, but I've heard rumors that Derek Carr is trying to get out of there because Las Vegas low-key got some internal issues. But with Josh McDaniels at the helm, I feel like it could be a nice little spot depending on who you are.
Hey, with Derek Carr, it seems like his head's always on the chopping block. Man.
All right, y'all. I think we're going to bring this show to a conclusion. It's been a real great show. If you guys haven't, make sure you guys hit the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. And just in case you guys don't know, what you should, we are live in Houston. Our first live show, April the 23rd. Make sure you guys grab your tickets. It's in the description. It's also pinned to the top. And shout out to our sponsor, which is Teach Hanley. Make sure you guys click that link in the description as well, and you get a chance to get the opportunity to get a free gift. Only when you click that link. Only click that link. All right, fellas, another great show.
All right, fellas, have a good day.
Get ready for some football.
Be easy, y'all.
Y'all be safe out there.
Yes, sir, baby.